So, our next guest, well, this cow does not really need an introduction. We all know who he is. It's the creator of our favorite server, the brains behind the game, the one, the only, Salted. Welcome. Let's see if he speaks. Hello? I can't hear anything. Oh. 2 seconds. Wait, 2 seconds. Got this. Nice, cool. Yeah. Hello. I think we heard something.
Wait, really? Am I here?
Yeah, you're here. Hello.
Oh my god, alright, dude. Did you guys mute me secretly?
I don't think so.
I think my mic was fine, but
Oh.
alright. How do I sound? I kind of moved my entire setup for this.
Oh, you sound perfectly. You sound
Great.
Yeah, the quality is fine. Hopefully the volume
Awesome.
is too. Yeah, I think the volume's fine too. Hi, Salted. This is the first time we talk.
That is true. After 6 years or something of knowing each other existence. Was it 6 years? I can't remember.
Since I started or since I got YouTube ranked? That's the question.
Oh, I've known you way before YouTube rank. I've watched your video when you had like barely any subs.
Oh. Oh no. That's awkward. My videos are so
Oh.
bad.
Sure. Yeah, and you had like a higher pitched voice too, I remember, but it's fine. Everybody starts like that.
Oh man. Do you keep sort of tabs on YouTubers and what goes on in the YouTube world?
Yeah, well, people don't know that because I don't really write on YouTube or anything like that, but pretty much every day I go on YouTube and I search Wynncraft and I search for the newest videos.
Ah.
Yeah, I just watch people play the game or do stuff, and most of the time they have like 0 views, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But I'm well aware of what's happening.
So you watch a lot of videos as sort of part of seeing how the game is experienced, or?
Yeah, pretty much. Especially after an update. When an update just came out, I spent a lot of time just watching people play the game or watching streams or whatever.
Yeah.
It's what makes it fun.
Yeah. There's undoubtedly going to be a few questions about Wynncraft's future and future content, right? But before we get to that, I want to take a step back and look at Wynncraft's past, right? Wynncraft is soon turning 10 years old, in April, in fact. But the forums wanted a clarification. I've seen a lot of debate whether it's April 29th or April 30th.
I'm not even sure myself. Generally, when I look at the date for Wynncraft's anniversary, I just Google it because I don't really have that by heart. It's because Wynncraft was actually kind of released in beta, and then eventually it got an official release. So I'm not too sure, but it's around that time. It doesn't matter too much the exact date. Other people, I'm sure, keep track of that better than I do.
Does it feel like it's been 10 years?
No, not really. And I've watched the other interviews, and pretty much everybody says that too. Time really flies, and I didn't even realize it was really 10 years until I saw that thread on the forums. I would have remembered it eventually, but it's goddamn crazy. You know, when we made Wynncraft, we thought it would last maybe 2 years maximum, and now here we are.
How did you sort of make Wynncraft? How did you turn a sort of plain sandbox blocky game into the magic that we experience today?
Well, vanilla Minecraft itself has a lot of RPG elements just by default, like the little potion that came out in beta 1 point something, I forgot. Just everything about it felt very RPG, but there was no RPG server of it, and I just thought it'd be really cool to make a RPG server, especially since I've I've been a big fan of MMORPG for a long ass time before doing Wynncraft, and I've always kind of made games on the side with tools like RPG Maker and Game Makers and shit. And we had the crafted movie server with a good builder called Grian. Maybe you've heard of him.
Yeah.
The YouTuber apparently now, and Jumla, who's a developer. And I just thought, man, that's like the perfect little team to get started on maybe an MMO. We didn't know what the hell we were doing at all back in the days, but turned out all right, I guess.
You mentioned Grian and his YouTubing. Do you feel like Grian has sort of put less time, or we've heard from a lot of our guests that Grian puts in more time in Wynn than the sort of general community might assume, right? Because his videos and success on YouTube has focused on other things. Do you share their view, or do you sort of secretly wish he would work more on Wynn?
He's definitely worked less on Wynn ever since his YouTube channel picked up, which is fine. Like, it makes sense. Have you seen his YouTube channel? He has like 6 million subscribers. I would do the same too if I were him. But he's still around quite a lot. Like, every week he's there and he's working on every quest. Like, he's really there. He doesn't like to be really public in general. In fact, I don't even think he uses social media much anymore. Like, he's trying to simplify his life, I think. So he's staying away from all this stuff, but he still really loves to win, and he still works on it a lot.
Yeah, I think Green gets like what he gets viewed in a day, I get in 3 years. So I understand wanting to focus on that.
It's crazy.
We also heard from Seer that Joomla hasn't been as active anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you think Seer could eventually evolve into the head developer?
Well, he kind of is the head developer. We pretty much have only 2 devs, and he's the main one, and that's pretty much his main thing. So yeah, he kind of is the main developer. Joomla has been kind of away since 2018, I think. Then we got like Jay Present in, and then he came back after COVID hit because he had a lot of free time. And then now he's taking a step back again, and Zero's taking the place a little more.
Yeah. And sort of backtracking to Wynncraft's past, we've gotten a lot of updates and content over the past 9.5 years. Do you have a sort of favorite update that's, I mean, it could be the recent 2.0, but do you have a historical favorite as well?
Well, let me think. I kind of like every update. They're not all perfect, and I'm always very biased with the most recent stuff. So I think 2.0 is like the coolest one because it really made Wynncraft just way cooler in general. But I do have an appreciation for the quest update that happened a billion years ago. I can't even remember the name or the date of it, but it's that time when we added the quest system and like 20 quests, and it was kind of shitty. In fact, I think that this network was down for like a week after it released because it was so laggy and buggy, but it helped us forward as to what Wynncraft eventually became, very focused on quests and that kind of stuff. It was like a first step towards the modern Wynn.
And sort of continuing on the same topic of past Wynn and how the 10th anniversary is getting closer and closer. Would you want to celebrate the anniversary?
Yeah, I have some ideas. I'm not promising anything. Maybe we're not gonna be able to do anything, but it'd be really nice to do something special. 10 years is more than most servers, so it'd be nice to celebrate it. And in fact, I think only like Hypixel and Wynncraft are still alive from that time.
Yeah.
Crazy when you think of it.
We heard suggestions from Seer about turning every skin into a salted skin, for example. I also saw someone suggest an XP year, a double XP year. Might be a bit excessive, but
Of course, people are asking for that, as if that would ever happen. An entire year. Yeah, it's not gonna be something like that. But we might do nothing. All right, don't take what I say as a promise.
And sort of on the topic of double XP, right? Since the sort of introduction of events that has sort of become the new main focus during holidays and sort of other weekends. Is it sort of an intentional decrease in double XP weekends, or is it more so that double XP weekends might be reserved for smaller holidays and bigger ones get the new events?
That's an interesting question. I guess, yeah. In a way, they do lead to decreased XP weekend. The XP weekend is kind of a double-edged sword. It's great when it happens. Everybody's having a great time, and they're coming online to play Wynncraft and such. But there's always a decrease a few days after. Like people got their levels, and they're kind of burnt out from Wynn. So they're good, but they're not that, like, doing them too often isn't very healthy for the game itself. So that's where events can come in, and events generally they don't do that. In fact, events bring people online, and when they end, people still come back. So I guess in a way, the fact events exist makes it so there's a little less double XP weekend, but not that much. There's still a few double XP weekend every so often, and now we kind of tie them with sales as well. So
Yeah.
it's a little different from back in the days.
And sort of on the topic of statistics, do you sort of check the player statistics and those sort of stats often?
Yeah, pretty much every day I check them. It's a fun stuff. It's like playing a like Age of Empire or just a management game. You can kind of see things going up and down with the moves you make.
Have you sort of ever learned something that's quite notable from those statistics? Perhaps like this change was made and suddenly you can see a huge drop or a huge increase.
Yeah, there's some weird shit. When 1.20 released, we reworked the ghost system, but it wasn't working very well on the first day, so it wasn't enabled. But a few days later, we enabled it, and it actually increased retention by something like 5%, which is quite high, just from the ghost system existing. I guess new players saw other players playing, and they thought, damn, this must be a good game if there's that many players. Something like that. There's also the new dialogue system that really increased the retention as well. Yeah, people are surprised when I say that, because people in the community, the dialogue system it has some flaws, so they're not always a big fan of it. But you gotta remember, when new players play, if they keep going until like level 100, like the community at the time, then it means they read partly it means that they can read the text at the right rate at which we send it, and so they're not feeling overwhelmed by the quest or anything. But for players that can't read as fast, this kind of stuff feels overwhelming, and they can't keep up with the game, and that leads to them quitting more. So now that the new dialogue system came out, it made them stick around more, I guess. That's my suspicion of why that happened.
Yeah, it did surprise me because I mean I like the dialogue system. It makes it easier to skip, and read in my pace when I make quest guides, for example, because I read slow. But it was a bit controversial when it came out. And sort of speaking on controversies, do you stay up to date with community feedback and sort of community discussions? I know you sometimes reply on forum posts and on the Discord, but sort of in what sort of size or in what capacity do you sort of stay updated?
Pretty much every day I check the forums and I check Discord. I don't reply that often, but I'm quite active on that, and I know what people are saying most of the time.
And something I've sort of asked all our guests is how they deal with critique, both negative and positive feedback. Do you handle it in a certain type of way?
Well, most people are really nice to start with. It's quite rare that people are toxic. It does happen, but most of the people are nice, and they're saying stuff because they want the game to be better, and that's important to keep track of. Unfortunately, the human brain kind of trick you into giving more value to negative ones, so they stick around more. But for the most part, people are nice. The way I see feedback is the way I see feedback is that I'm like a filter for the feedback. It goes through me, and then I understand it in a certain way, and then it comes out, and I do things about it. Feedback generally is really good at giving you telling you how the people are feeling about certain things. In fact, I got a good example about it. So before Gavel came out, were you playing before Gavel?
Oh, I joined July 2014, so a bit, yeah.
Okay, well, before Gavel, we spent something like a year without doing updates, which was really bad, and people were really getting sick of this. It took, especially at the time, we were releasing an update every few months, not like nowadays when it takes more than a year.
Yeah.
So people were expecting content, and Gavel finally released after like a year of nothing, and I was like, yep, job well done. People will not ask for new quests or new content for like a year. But within like a month, people finished all the quests on Gavel, and they started complaining again that they wanted more quests. And I was thinking, Jesus, we just like more than doubled the amount of quests in the game, and they're already asking for more. What exactly is going on? And I spent some time thinking of that, and what I realized is that people weren't really asking for more quests specifically. They were asking for more content, but because quests were so good at everything, they gave money, they gave XP, they gave items and shortcuts and whatever, people associated content with quests, and so that's how they gave their feedback. They said we want more quests, but they wanted more content. So with the gameplay update that we did later, I focused on making dungeon more rewarding, giving more XP, giving more rewards. We I think we boosted the mob XP, so grinding mobs becomes a thing you can do as well. And people always ask for more content, so it's not a perfect fix, but I think it did help, and it did do what people were truly asking instead of just more quests, because we can do more quests, but they take a long time as well, especially now.
That sort of explains the addition of boss altars, for example. I think that came out in boss altars that came out in
boss altars, yeah.
I think they came out in the gameplay.
Yeah,
update.
how did I don't remember exactly how this came about, but it was probably Selvit just wanting to make cool bosses, and so we were like, all right, let's just make the boss altars. He's kind of like that.
And sort of on the same topic as critique, as both owner and sort of head game developer, do you feel like a certain responsibility of receiving feedback and sort of for the team and sort of caretaking perspective of making sure that if people, you know, speak to content team members harshly or give unnecessary feedback, that you sort of stand up for them or help them sort of deal with that.
And it's funny. It's funny you mentioned that because it's actually kind of a mistake I made recently, where this happened and I didn't quite react appropriately, at least in hindsight. I guess it is something I should be doing, and I should be doing it better as well. But I'm not always up to date with what people tell each other, especially on other Discord servers that I'm not in. I only ever know about those when the CT tells me.
Yeah.
And that's kind of rare. I think CT kind of expected that some people will be a little silly with their feedback. Yeah, so I guess they don't bring it to me that often because of that.
Yeah. Now going back to before Wynn, you ran the Crafted Movie YouTube channel. But since then, Wynn has become your main focus. Do you sometimes regret leaving Crafted Movie behind?
No, not at all. And I often saw people, especially back then when we had like a Crafted Movie forum and everything, kind of blame Wynncraft for the death of Crafted Movie. But it was kind of the opposite. In fact, Crafted Movie was really fun. And it was the first time I did something that actually kind of caught on. It was unbelievable to have this happen to me. And after like a year of Crafted Movie, we didn't do as well with it. Like, it was still fun to work on it, but it kind of feels bad to have to put more and more efforts for less and less views. So Crafted Movie is kind of going down, and this is what shifted my focus towards something else that was fun, at least for me, which was Wynncraft.
Do you, one of the people on the forums wondered if you keep contact with the old Crafted Movie members?
I only the old Crafted Movie members were just friends I had at school, really. So I lost touch with a lot of them, but there's one. Bull, I'm still very up to date with Bull. We play games together every week and we chat and such. He's still around.
Yeah. And since Wynncraft is your job now, how much time in your day-to-day life is dedicated to Wynncraft?
That's hard to say because I kind of messed up and I merged my real life with Wynncraft. Like, I don't have a separation of Wynncraft and my real life. Yeah, I could be doing, like, I could be playing Overwatch, and then 5 minutes later, I'm suddenly working on a new feature in a Google Doc for Wynncraft, and so it's all over the place. And then 5 minutes later, I'm taking a walk outside. Like, there's no big separation. It's all just jumbled together. I work on it pretty much every day. I don't think I've ever had a day where I haven't thought about Wynncraft or looked at Wynncraft stuff like the player account or other analytics. I don't work like 12 hours a day on Wynncraft. There's some days where I do just like 2 hours maybe, and there's other days, especially around updates, where I do pretty much everything is Wynncraft. I do all day long. It really kind of depends. I couldn't say an exact time. But I'd say the average is just maybe 8 hours a day, but every day, and even the weekends, and I don't really take any breaks except during Christmas. So that does add up.
Do you enjoy it, or does it sometimes, like, can it sometimes feel like a chore, or like, now I gotta work?
Towards the end of updates, I'm always a little bit burnt out. But other than that, I'm always very much enjoy it. Working at Wynncraft it's crazy. It's really fun. It's like a dream job, pretty much for me. And that's one of the reasons I'm still very active doing it.
Yeah. I told Sierra and Nep, who are, you know, hired employees that, you know, we all envy you guys. We all wish we could work at Win for a
Yeah.
job. Speaking of, you don't need any official, you know, social media representatives.
Well, maybe we do, because I'm the only one managing that, and I'm not that active on it. But I don't really see the value, so not really. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. It's mainly a joke. Do you have time to spend on other things? I know you do music, for example. Do you feel like Win gives you enough time spare to work on your music?
Yeah, with Win, I'm very free because I'm my own boss, which is the best thing about it. So if I feel like making music one day, that's what I'm gonna do, and nobody is gonna be pissed off at me. I definitely have the time. Wynncraft is a full-time job, but it doesn't overtake everything I do.
And sort of on the topic of you being the boss, right? What are some of the difficulties with running such a large Minecraft server that us in the community might not know about?
Let me think for a second. I'd say, okay, let's say the community. I love the community. They're very important to my heart into Minecraft. But the community itself is quite small, I think, compared to what they think. And sometimes we do things for the health of the game, and the community doesn't truly understand why we're doing it. Because all right, so for example, you see Wynncraft, how many players we have right now? We have like 1,000, we have 1,700 people online right now. But in actuality, Wynncraft, because of its Christmas, every time everybody has a lot of time, we have about 13,000 players every day. So it's not as big as Hypixel, but it's still a little bigger than what people might think in general. And in these people, there are a lot of new players, and just people call them casual, but just people that play the game normally, like an hour a day, and they just do quests and such. And people that are part of the community are generally passionate people about Wynncraft, and they have more time into that. So they see certain things as being very important, but maybe they're only important for the 5% of players that are like high level and have multiple classes and play Win every day. And they're very important, these people. But there's also the 95% of the other players that are very important too, in their own ways, and we have to do things for them as well. And I think the community sometimes doesn't quite understand that.
So they sort of fail to recognize that it's not only the OGs and the try-hard, but a large part is new players, for example.
Yeah, and new players are important. They deserve as much fun as the in-game people as well. They're just not very present. You don't see them a lot. They're not on the Discord, not on the forum. They're just doing their own thing, but they're a big chunk of people. We have to care for them as well.
For example, like complaints about lag, seeing as running a server takes a lot of servers and data connections and everything. Does the community, when you know we receive when you receive complaints about lag, do they fail to sort of keep in mind the difficulties?
Yeah, it's because we're a Minecraft server, and Minecraft is not made for the kind of shenanigans we do. And believe it or not, we do put good money into the quality of the hardware we rent and the proxies that we use. It's high quality stuff, but there's still some lag because we're not supposed to really be doing what we're doing. But I think people generally understand that, and I think Wynncraft is quite all right now. It has some laggy stuff still that we need to fix, but on average, it's quite smooth for it is. I saw Zero's interview yesterday, I think, and he said like there was 20,000 mobs per server, and that's a that's a gigantic amount. If you were to try to spawn 20,000 mobs on a regular vanilla server, it would die before you even got like half of it. So it's we're not doing that bad, I think, and people generally, I think, are not too, at least nowadays, they're not too silly with their lag request.
Especially sort of if we look back, right? When I joined Wynn, I don't remember it, but I did a sort of tribute video this year. And looking at my old videos, you really notice how different things was, and
Yeah.
you see how incredibly laggy it was back then. But
It was so bad.
are you proud of how far Wynncraft has come?
Yeah, I think Uncut is way better nowadays, and not just the game itself. I think that the team as well is so much better than it used to be. I love Wynncraft. I got high hopes with the future of it.
Yeah. And sort of looking at the past and comparing it, raids, for example, they were sort of hinted at back in the Gavel expansion update in 2015. We saw the Groot slang sort of model in the trailer, and we had sort of Orphean Seal. Do you feel like it was worth the wait, seeing now how they turned out? Because it's probably a much higher quality than they would have been if you guys would have had time to finish them back in the day.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about if the quality is better now than they would have been back in the days. When we made that trailer that showed these bosses, we still have a lot to do, and so that was never done, unfortunately. I'd say be maybe equal. We had high hopes for Gavel back in the days, but we had a bunch of issues that came about and prevented us from doing all these cool things. Like I think Croncall at the time left, and then we hired another dude that ended up just not doing the job that he was meant to. And so we couldn't wait anymore, and we had to release with some stuff cut out. But if everything would have worked perfectly back then, I think it would have been maybe as good as now in a different way. Probably. We had a cinematic system. We had a custom bus system. We ended up not really using it. Even now, we don't even use the same system. But yeah.
Yeah, and in the trailer, we saw like a whole new dueling system, right? There was this one player crashing into another one. Is dueling
cinematic.
Yeah. What are some things that you would like to rework in the future?
In Wynncraft, just anything. Oh, there's a lot of stuff I'd like to rework. We have a lot of ideas. Before I say them, of course, you gotta keep in mind we might never do it. It's not because I want to change things that they happen instantly. We have a million ideas, but only 2 devs and volunteers for that work at their own pace, so we can't do everything. But I want to change loot run. I want to change some housing. I want to change hunted. I'd like to bring back swarms one day, maybe. What else is bad? I'd like to get rid of soul points and do something else with them. There's a lot about the games that's not perfect. The game's never going to be perfect either. Even if you were to do all these things, time would pass, and then some old things that we did, like Profession, I'd like also to change a bit how they work. And maybe after we've done all of this, after like a million years, maybe we'll want to redo raids to make them even cooler. Who knows? But yeah, there's a lot to improve on the game still.
A lot of things, yeah. I've seen a lot of people talk about soul points, for example. It's one of Saya Duck's, biggest gripes with the game, and we always see a new post about it. Do you find it difficult to sort of handle soul points in a way that dying is still a sort of setback?
No, I've done harder stuff. It's just that it's just not such a huge deal. Like we gotta balance what we do with stuff that will make people excited, get them back to the game, and stuff that makes the game more like healthy and makes them more fun. And soul points, if we were to make them way better, and I do have some ideas for that, and they wouldn't be that hard, all things considered, but they wouldn't bring players back. And so I'm not gonna call it a waste. It would bring a lot of advantage to Wynncraft to do them right. It's just our time sometimes can be spent better on other things, and so they're kind of on the list of things to do in the future that we'll get to it eventually.
Do you feel like the community, you know, because from the community's perspective, it's just waiting for update, play, and then wait for next update.
Right.
Do you feel like they might, you know, they might fail to consider that you have a lot of plans on things you want to work on, but you have to prioritize, and that they might not really think about that when, you know, they say, why haven't you fixed this yet, or why haven't you fixed that yet? Well, because we have other things to do.
Yeah, totally. Ideas are super easy to come up with. Everybody in the team has them. I have them. Zero has them. We got an infinite list of things to do, but it takes some time to do them, and other things are more important sometimes, and they come up. And sometimes we're working on a new feature, and suddenly there's a juke bug to fix, so that delays the feature by like a day. And these things, like, they add up over time too.
Yeah.
That's what makes things kind of slow.
Right before the 2021 year, when we had the champion pre-order and we had a double XP week, Wynn saw one of the biggest dupes hitting the community, a huge dupe in the trade market. Do sort of community-wide problems that affect the economy, does that set back other work a lot?
This is an extreme example, because this is what kind of got us to rework the trade market as well right before 1.20 release. But no, I don't think they add up. As I said, they really add up. But generally, it's like when there's a big problem like that comes up, it's like 1 or 2 days to fix them, and usually it's fine. Like it's nothing too dramatic. They just add up. Like over time, maybe you spend weeks fixing dupes and big bugs combined.
Now, I just want to quickly jump back to the past, before Wynncraft was made. What inspired the creation of Wynn? Did you play any games as a kid that had an impact or inspire certain aspects?
I think this is one of the only things that I've said multiple times. There's like 3 games I think that really got me to, that really inspired Wynn itself. The way I do things, I just steal from other games. It's my big secret. I don't really create anything by myself. I just steal it from other games, and I think that's kind of how creativity works. You can't really create things by yourself. You just steal from other elements. But there's 3 games I really stole from. It's Diablo, Dofus, which is a French MMO, but it's the best MMO. You should try it. And shit, what's the other one? Kind of forgot.
RuneScape?
There's a third one, but oh yeah, exactly, RuneScape. Yeah, especially with the profession stuff. These 3, if you were to really play them, you'd see how much Wynncraft is just all of them. The thing I thought was the coolest about them, kind of changed them a little bit, then bam, all together. That's Wynncraft, roughly.
Now, when you say that French MMO is the best MMO, I'm assuming you don't count in comparison to Wynncraft, because we all know Wynn is the best MMO.
I don't know, man. I still really like the Office. At least the one I played back in 2007 or something. It's quite special. It's quite unique as an MMO. Everybody should try it. How many you got people? 97 people watching right now. Everybody here should try Dofus. I think they have an English version, so it's not too bad.
Can we ever expect a new rank to be added, maybe like a purely support-based rank without any perks, just to sort of have like a little token of showing support, basically.
Yeah, you could expect another rank or other feature. Maybe not a purely support rank. That's not really. It doesn't really work. There's some people that say they'd like to just support the game, but most people they want the perks in reality. And so a purely support rank probably wouldn't be worth it. But yeah, other ranks definitely.
With the last rank we saw, champion, there was a huge backlash about the whole bomb bell situation. Is that something that you would ever consider changing?
I think the bomb bells. No, I don't think I would change the bomb bells. The one thing I still kind of want to change is the priority access. It kind of works with the bomb bells right now,
Yeah.
and it's something that kind of annoys people, especially during double XP weekend where everybody's buying bombs and they're triggering them. Then only mostly champions can get in, and we did like half the work to be able to get rid of the champion slots for something else. We added a queue system in 2.0, and that's what I kind of want to change champion to. So instead of being a separate champion slot, it's instead more of a semi-priority queue where champions get in more often, but not always. So it's a little more fair to people, but we haven't done that yet. We've just done like the basics of it.
And speaking of queue priority, one thing us media ranks didn't have a clue about until last double XP weekend was the apparent existence of media rank priority.
Right. This was added kind of last minute with the 2.0 thing. It's not very deep, that's why it's kind of very it's kind of just all or nothing right now. And we added champion to those to make the champion slots work, and we just thought, oh, let's just add like media and admin and mods because they kind of need it.
Yeah.
What did that cause some issues with the media? I wasn't.
Well,
wasn't
it
aware.
didn't cause issues. We I discovered it because I skipped past a lot of my fellow proffers in huge lines, and I just instantly appeared and I raised a question, and apparently none of us had noticed it.
Yeah, that's funny.
But I have discussed with some other media rank players about how that might be seen as unfair during things such as double XP weekends, especially in sort of combination with champion slots.
Yeah, that's true. Well, right now it's kind of I'm not too happy with it either. It was just because we didn't really have time to make a more sophisticated system, so we kind of just slapped mod, admin, media, and champion like together in this other queue that can overtake the other queue.
Yeah.
In the meanwhile, and we still haven't gotten back to it. It's taking a long time.
And speaking of media rank, without mentioning anything specific, there has been, you know, in the community a recent sort of controversy surrounding the whole rank and its benefits. Is that something you would consider sort of overseeing and perhaps changing in the future?
Are you talking about people loot running in the media world?
Yes. Yes.
The way well, okay, yeah, yeah, okay, you're right. I do want to fix it, and I want to fix it by changing loot running itself, which we'll do eventually. And when we do it, it's gonna be perfect. There's not gonna be any controversy. If you're a media rank right now, just don't loot run in that server. It's quite simple.
I would agree that it is quite simple. But it has raised a lot of questions, right? How would you define loot running? Is it running a dedicated line, or is it, you know, wearing loot running gear and opening certain strategic chests, or how would you define it?
That's a very gray area. It's kind of just rushing from chest to chest. If you were to just play the game normally and explore like one cave every so often, that's how the system was designed. That's how we expected people to play, which is not the case. But if you were to do that, then it's fine. But if you're rushing from chest to chest and kind of taking stuff as fast as possible, then that's what I consider loot running. It's kind of gray. I know you might. If we were to make this a real rule, you need something more black and white, but it's tough to really define that. I'd rather just fix loot running itself than
Yeah.
do that. It's a lot less work. I need to be right back for like 1 minute, by the way. Sorry
That
to
is
take long.
perfectly
Sorry.
fine.
Right, be right back.
And in the meantime, I can make sure I'm staying up to date with chat. How are you doing, chat? It's been a while since I've sort of talked to you. Hopefully, let's see. I'm gonna check my managers here and see if I've gonna need to move some questions. Yeah. We have a lot of questions, so let's see. Yoink. Alright, let's see. Ask if he can add a bank man for champion. We have some of the questions might be repeats that we have prepared already. We have so many questions from the community already. We had a forums post and we've gotten them other ways, but yeah. Hopefully you guys are finding this interesting. Survive the fight. Okay. Oh, stand AFK. But yeah, chat. How are you guys doing? I just wanted to make triple sure Shelton give some sort of response on loot run reworks. Yeah, I'm gonna ask about that in a moment. Gonna finish this quest. Quite intriguing to play Cow Fusion and talk to Salted at the same time. We are slowly but surely making our way through the quests here.
Hello.
Hello, Salted. Welcome back. We've
Oh
missed
my god,
you.
you hear me now? I
Yeah,
think the stage feature has a bug because I unmute, but it doesn't work, and I have to do it twice before it works.
really.
Yeah.
Might be. Do you not have a certain role? I wonder. Could be some role issues. But you should be able to. But welcome back.
Oh.
So we've talked a bit about, things you would want to change, and we were on the topic of loot running and how you would want to change that. We talked with Nepmia, for example, and he suggested client-side chests. Is client-side chests a solution you would entertain for loot running?
It is part of a solution, but that's not everything. There's loot running has some issues because it's not designed to be done the way people are doing it. When we did loot chests back in goddamn 1800 BC, we thought people would just be playing normally, exploring, and then finding a cave and exploring and getting a chest at the end, and that was it. But people didn't do that. Now they're just running from cave to cave. It's not made to be repetitive, even though it's a repetitive action that they're doing. So that's one of the things that we would need to fix. And client-side chess fixes another issues where people are playing like meta games where they're trying to find servers that are old, not too old, and not loot running, and all this stuff. I wish people would just play the game. They get on a server, they don't care which server it is, they just loot run. And
Yeah.
that's its own separate little thing. But yeah, I'd like to do that as well.
Would you ever want to see a different type of way of obtaining mythics in a sort of similar fashion? I know the forgery chest was sort of intended to compete with loot running. And we have seen, you know, it wasn't perfect at first, but we did see now in 2.0, like the number of times you don't get a mythic, it does increase the chance. But would you want to see a new way that is on an even similar level of sort of mythics per time spent ratio?
Well, first off, the forgery chest wasn't necessarily meant to compete with the loot chest, because a forgery chest also brings something that loot chests don't, and that's XP. I guess it doesn't matter once you're max level, but there's some difference. I don't want two systems in the game to just do the same thing and kind of try to overtake each other. I like each of them to have their own place, which is why like raid gives their own rewards, which are tome, and other things give other stuff, so that everything is useful in a way without necessarily becoming useless. Um, for mythic, I don't think I would add another system that's better for mythics than loot running, because that's kind of point of loot running. I'd rather just make loot running fun, and fun in a repeatable way to
Yeah.
get mythics, and then had another system for other things.
Now, sort of backtracking, we talked a bit earlier about the store. Would it ever be realistic to hope for future Wynncraft merch?
Yeah, maybe. The- We haven't. What have I done? I don't know. We could have done Wynncraft merch. I'm just a little scared of it, because with Craft and Movie, we did do merch, and it wasn't that. No, it didn't work out that well. But I guess Wynncraft is quite different from Craft and Movie. So yeah, we could do merch. It's just we're just focused on other things.
Yeah.
But maybe one day. I know people really want Wibble plushies, and I want them as well. And one day they'll be there, maybe.
We got him to say it, boys. The entire forums apparently told me to ask you how to pronounce Wibble, but I heard it.
Obviously, Wibble. We always
Yeah.
use the English pronunciation for Wynncraft. That's why
Wibble.
we write armor with a U. It's for the medieval theme, you know. So we
Oh.
speak British.
I see. I see. We have it sort of in canon now. Speaking of pronunciations, is sort of city names, right? Do you find everyone arguing about how to pronounce certain cities funny or entertaining, or are you on a certain side on how things should be pronounced?
Man, which city is that? Is that like the one in Gavel that starts with B? That's next to Levigar?
Boosie, Theseed, Almouge.
Oh yeah, the seed. I remember Grian laughed at me because I pronounced it like the seed, like the seed, like two different words. When it's meant to be, what is it? The side, something like that. This side. I don't remember. Dude, I don't even speak English. It's my main language. So if you ask me for pronunciation, you're gonna get the wrong response pretty much every time. I don't write the name of every town either, so I wouldn't really know how they're meant to be said.
Yeah. And sort of on the topic of agreeing, because we did talk about merch. I'm thinking like, because he has worked with a bunch of merch companies to launch merch for his YouTube channel. Do you feel like he might be able to bring insight that could help Wynn perhaps
Yeah.
explore that idea?
I did that actually. I asked him, yo, like, what would you recommend for merch stuff for Win? And he said, I don't know, but definitely don't use this company. And that's pretty much it. So it didn't help as much, unfortunately.
I see. Alright, so I'm gonna sort of transition here into some future Wynncraft things here. We have sort of heard from your post that you made about the announcement of the work on Fruma that there might be a level cap increase. Um, with an increased level cap, will the ability tree stay as it is, or will we see further abilities added sort of past the current levels?
So the tree was very well designed so that it can be expanded upon. And so if we were to add more levels, we'd like to add more ability points, which means we probably would want to add more abilities. That's what I'll say. Maybe.
Yeah, could we ever see sort of items with ability point requirements, or like a certain weapon if you have a set amount of archetype points?
I don't know. It's not. It's not really planned, and I like to keep the two system a little bit separated because the item system is super complex, which is good for people that likes it, but it's not very welcoming to new players. While the ability tree is a little more in between. It's not that simple, but it's not that complex either. You can get it. So I like to keep those a little separate to make sure that there's a little. They each have their own space. But maybe it could be nice to add that. I'm not ruling it out.
Yeah. And sort of on the topic of communicating with the community, they have for a long time been wanting more transparency with the content team, and we've started seeing more and more of that over the years with monthly posts and the recent Ruma announcement. That was sort of quite early in the process. Is it hard to balance transparency about what's being worked on whilst trying to manage expectations?
Yeah, well, very often when you work on a game, at least with Wynncraft, it's kind of ugly until the very last month or something. So the real struggle is finding something that's pretty enough and ready enough to be able to be shown in these like CT monthly thread or something. With yeah, so it's gonna be tough a little bit to do that with Fruma. So that's why we kind of made this announcement. We said, all right, we're working on Fruma, and we don't want to show up too much about Fruma, but it's gonna be ugly until quite late. That's the real challenge, really, on showing things before they're ready.
Yeah. So sort of other things that the community has been wanting, right, is improved storage. We also heard it from Teely earlier today. Sort of being, you run out of storage. And we have, seen a huge increase in storage. I think it was during Gavel and the gameplay update that we started seeing the whole extra pages instead of just buying rows in the bank. But could you ever see Wynncraft expanding on the different storage options in the game?
Yeah, storage is kind of a never-ending issue. It's always going to be there. We can add 50 pages right now. In 2 years, people are going to start asking for more. The more space you give them, the more they're going to stock up on stuff. Can you imagine? You remember, right? Before Gavel, it was 1 page max. And most likely you had a little less than 1 page because you weren't max level. And people complain about storage, but it's still... And dude, remember all the quest items we used back in the days? Just unbelievable. You barely had any space.
You used extra classes.
Yeah, using extra classes because it was so limited. People kind of make up with it. Like, if you give them less space, they're just gonna sell their items more, and they're gonna try something else. If you give them more space, they're gonna put all of their stuff on there just in case for the future, and then they end up never using it. But I do agree we should get some more pages. What I think we should do. And boy, there might be a leak again for a future thing, but no promises. What I think we should do is add storage for each individual classes. So the current bank would become the global storage, whatever, and each classes would have their own storage. Just a few pages, nothing crazy, but I think just that would help a lot. Because very often, as I said, I watch a lot of people playing the game, especially on YouTube and such, when they're just starting, and very often they're kind of they open their bank on their new character and they realize, oh, this is a global bank. This is my level 40 stuff. I don't care about that. I'm level 2. So being able to separate this to allow each class to have their own little spot would help a lot, both for the storage and also for this little like game design, if I can call it, aspect of it, where people start a new character and they want to start fresh.
We have seen some solutions to these problems over the years, right? Not only the several pages, but we've seen the ingredient pouch, right, for mob drops, and we've seen the emerald pouch. Do you think that could be expanded upon, for example, for professions, right? As someone who, sort of does professions on a competitive level, being on, the scoreboard and trying to maintain that, you do gather up and you store up a lot of materials. Could it ever be a possibility that we see a pouch to at least store some of the excess you could grind for a longer time?
Yeah, I'm not against it. It's not really problematic because nowadays tools, like if you hold multiple tools at the same time, it reduces the chance of getting resources. So that's our balancing things. Having a pouch for it would probably be quite all right. Yeah, I'm not against it. We just haven't done it because we're doing other things, I guess.
Now, I'm sort of I'm okay if you don't want to answer some of these questions. But one of the things that have been discussed since the Fruma announcement was handling of endgame items such as mythics, right? We have seen level cap increases in like that size back in the Gavel expansion, and it left a lot of the sort of current or meta and the end game gear sort of unimportant and sort of not used anymore. How will that be handled, or what would be a good way of handling that from a sort of game development and gameplay perspective?
I'm not sure I understand. Are you saying, are people worried about current mythics after Fruma releases and new stuff gets added?
Well, they're more so worried about, now you might have a mythic that's level 95 that's, super valuable and powerful.
Right.
But it will become obsolete once there are other items, because
Okay.
it's no longer in the end game.
We're still kind of early, so I'm not too sure yet. I don't think they would become fully obsolete, but other things might come. Because the value of things is kind of influenced a lot by how people perceive it. So if something is 5% stronger than something else, it's just 5% stronger, but people might see it as like 50% more valuable because of that little increase. So I don't know. It will really depend on how people see it and the economy and what we do with Fruit. But it's still early. I can't really say if we're planning to add new items that will fully replace current mythics. But if we add more items that are a little stronger than mythics, your mythics are still gonna be all right. But people might value it differently, maybe.
Have you ever sort of thought about there being a way to sort of have your weapon, but somehow being able to increase the stats of it as you progress through the game? Sort of similar how in other games you might be able to sharpen a sword once you have like materials and a higher level, and that might increase its damage. Could that ever be a possibility for Wynn?
I had an idea once that IAMs didn't really like. That's what I remember from it. But the idea was to let some weapons being able to get some ingredients on it, some with like a different amount of it. So a maybe a normal item that's level 100 would be able to get 4 ingredients on it, while a legendary would only be able to get 1 ingredient from it. That was an idea, but nothing came out of it. Then I'm not sure we would do something like that with Fruma, but I'm not that against it. I need to think a bit more, I guess, and see how that goes.
Yeah, and sort of with an end game, right? Over the years, you know, there's been complaints about the amount of content in the end game. We've recently seen additions such as the forgery chest and raids. But with Fruma potentially increasing the level cap quite a bit, does that sort of give the team an ability to rework the end game, because it will sort of create a new end game to perhaps improve upon what is there?
Well, what is the Wynncraft endgame, really? It's some raids, I guess housing, if you want to spend some time, and loot running. I'd like to make it better, that's for sure, and that would be tied down to with loot running, preferably. But I don't think increasing the level cap really changes that. If we were to increase the level cap, I guess like we'd have new quests, we'd have like new things to do, but it would still be kind of the same system.
Seeing as you're the head developer or game developer, is it sort of
Yeah, Guild Wars too. Sorry, I
What?
just saw the chat. Yeah, Guild Wars is also an end
Guild
game type
Wars.
thing.
I
sorry.
also saw that they very much like the idea of class-based storage.
Yeah.
But sort of as the game developer, is it sort of up to you to think of all these ideas of how to make gameplay more fun and enjoyable for the player? And if so, sort of, is it difficult to do?
Well, yeah, there's like 2 steps to creating content. There's creating the basics or like the pillars of it and the systems to allow it, and then creating the content based on those rules and those systems. So, for example, I designed how raids work, but I didn't design each raid room. Like I designed that you enter a raid with a certain price, that there's a randomly generated room 3 times with bonuses in between, and then the type of rewards. So that's the system, and everything is based upon that system. And so this is pretty much me that designed that. I don't think anybody else really designed these systems. They when GMs work, they work based on those designs, so that they're able to create more raids. And I don't want to remove any credit from them. Like Peppo, for example, did a lot of work to make raids awesome, and he did have his own ideas of how certain rooms work, but they're all based upon a certain floor that I set up. And this is the stuff I do, and this is this aspect that makes certain things fun or repeatable or bad, maybe if I did a bad job. And right now you can tell I didn't really plan for many endgame based systems like that. So we have quests, we have dungeon and raids, which are all good, but they're not too repeatable. Raids are probably the most repeatable aspects of this. And yeah, I'd like to do a little more of that stuff that's repeatable in the end game.
Do you sort of look at the community suggestions for what they like to see? I talked with Nepmi about reading, for example, these, you know, suggestions part of the forums. Seeing as you're quite active, right? Do you keep track on suggested things?
I do, but yeah, I do actually read around. I often people kind of put a lot on their suggestion. They kind of design the whole system by itself, and what we kind of what is more useful, I think, in general, is just the basics of it. Like people saying, "Oh, this thing here should be changed because this or that," and then we can design a solution to that. It's like I said earlier, people are good at finding problems, but we prefer to come up with our own solutions because we know our tools, we have experience with it, and also it's kind of fun. Like we have to have fun while working on this as well.
Yeah.
And I do read suggestions, but I don't take everything from it. I read them, I try to understand what people are saying, why they're feeling this certain way, then I try to come up with my own solution. I still read their own solution, what they think which should be done, because it gives you a good idea as to what the problem is, but I don't necessarily want to just copy what they're suggesting.
Yeah. Do you have a sort of favorite part of Wynncraft? Like, do you have a certain aspect or a certain part of the playing experience that is your favorite?
Um, I don't know. I feel like just the game itself is my favorite part. When I play the game, I play on an alt account when I can because I don't want people to recognize me. When I play, it's what I enjoy the most is just going around killing mobs and leveling up and getting new abilities now with the ability tree and finishing quests. Just in I don't think there's one aspect that I really enjoy more than the other. It's just the overall experience and progressing towards becoming stronger and whatnot.
And now I'm just looking through. We've gotten a lot of questions from the viewers, for example. But one person on the forums wants to know what's the most sort of frequent question you get asked?
I don't keep track of that. I know that people often ask me how much money Wynncraft makes. At least that's the one I remember the most.
Yeah, I had some people wanting to answer or ask that, but I said I won't ask that question, so you won't
I
hear
mean, you
it
can
from
ask it. I'm just not gonna tell you.
Yeah, I know what the answer is gonna be. Do you own a yacht, or is that just a meme?
Ah, this fucking dude. This
I'm
meme, I
kidding.
think, comes. This meme comes from like Crunkle, I think, like Jared from our team. He loves this goddamn meme, and now it picked up. Like one day, I should take a picture of where I'm at because I'm on the kitchen table on a random apartment in a terrible town in Quebec. Like I swear I'm not rich like people think it. I'm not a millionaire or something.
Yeah, and on the topic of sort of your living situation, is Joomla in your basement?
No, Triple is somewhere in America. Who knows where he's at? He's always like traveling and some shit.
Another meme here from the community. Some people wonder if we could ever see another quest like question mark ever be added.
Probably not. I don't think. Question mark was a cool idea, but I don't think we should add more of those. Like one is well enough in my mind.
With the sort of recent overhaul of everything in Gavel, would you ever want to change question mark quest, seeing as a lot of players might refrain from doing it because of sort of its theme requirement?
I don't think there's a big need to change it. It's kind of meant. It's kind of meant to be this weird ass quest that's very special, and I know there's team requirements and people don't like to ask people to help, but it's like the only one that does that. You could ignore it, I guess, as long as we don't add too many of those. I think it's fine.
Seeing as, you know, we saw the party finder being added, do you feel like that has that noticeably helped the sort of co-op part of Win?
I don't know actually. I know that people use it. We have the data. We see that people like use the party finder to get into raids and find group and such. But I don't know how much of that kind of helped for like question mark in specific or anything like that.
Did we ever see world bosses like the one in the Wind Plains sort of added in the future?
Yeah, we could. This was kind of just a try thing. Like Lumia was working on this project and she thought it'd be cool and kind of maybe a start to something more, but right now we're kind of focused on Fruma itself, and maybe there's gonna be word bosses in Fruma, but it's not something that we're really trying to prioritize or something. It's something on the side that we'll do maybe if we have the time.
We've talked a lot with different members of the content team, and I've asked many of them sort of tools they'd like to see added to help in their work. Most notably, Afro Snail talked about quality assurance testing tools and similar. Just sort of, as the owner and so, do you keep sort of track on what the team wants, for example?
Yeah, the team is very vocal about what they want. Like they've been asking for new blocks for multiple years now, and that's one of the things we're working on. There's other things like the ability for script to be saved on a player instead of character. I think Brace talked about it maybe. Afro I know talked about the ability to like impersonate another player to be able to see exactly the issue that they have. And he said we didn't have that, but we actually do have that. He was wrong on that regard. Yeah, people always ask for tool, and it's not only do we have to mix doing things for the community and the player base on Wynncraft for different type of community, but we also have to do things for the team itself. Like they always ask for new tools as well. It's a balancing act of giving everybody a little bit of what they want, the best we can.
Yeah. Now, well, when I talked to Seer, I asked him about modding, and he said something quite interesting. Do you play Wynncraft with mods sometimes?
You know, honest, I do use your mod pack. I know this is the question you're going at. I'm using it right now on a dev server about some new features that are not yet out. It's a cool one. I don't know why you're surprised, because I think I did tell you that I joined your Discord server to be able to download the mod pack, right? I did that,
No,
right?
you told me it was for leaks back when I was working on the
Really?
beginner's guide. I believe that's what you told me.
Well, anyway, I did that, and I used it to download your mod pack, and it's awesome. And yes, it is what I use on the homepage to record like the big world with infinite chunk render distance. It's awesome. You know, I'm almost certainly gonna use it for like the Fruma trailer whenever we do that, so you can feel good about that too.
Speaking of trailers, do you work on them on your own? Except sort of, you know, we've seen music from content team members, but sort of the recording and editing part.
Yeah, I do trailers pretty much all on my own, except for the music. Generally, I go on like premiumbeat.com or Audio Jungle and get some cool songs, and then I edit around it. I mean, I have some experience editing. I've had a YouTube channel for 2 years called Crafty Movie. And I do the trailer myself. It's one of the best part about updates is these trailers and releasing them and seeing everybody being excited about it. It's the best part.
Do they take a lot of time to create?
Yeah, generally I start them many months. I have the Fruma trailer started right now, and Fruma is not close to release. You
Wow.
can believe me. But it's there. I have like the basics of it set up, have some ideas with it, have like some of the music, and slowly over like the next multiple months, as Fruma gets more done, I'll be able to record more and more scenes and be able to release it. It was the same thing with 2.0. I think like the you know, when we released the ability tree, we show like the warrior in sign expanse, like uppercutting a mob and then throwing it against the wall.
Yeah.
I think I did that like 6 months before the trailer released. It was it's fun for me to work on that. It hyped me up myself because I imagine people watching the trailer and being hyped. So it hypes me up myself, and I use that as fuel to keep working on the update.
Let's see. But when you talk about music, did you make the song for the Corcus trailer, or did you find that someplace else?
No, no, I got it on Audio Jungle or something, and somebody in the CT told me, they told me this song is used in a porn video. I was like, well, shit. Guess that's it now. This is the song we're using.
Corcus one?
Yeah, the Corcus one. You go
Aw,
on Audio
man.
Jungle, you write Electro Swing, and eventually you're gonna get that song. It's been used elsewhere. I mean, we're just buying like the rights to use it.
How is it to be the largest Wynncraft content creator
Rogers Wynncraft content creator.
in terms of subscribers?
Oh, like that doesn't count. Like it's kind of cheating. Like every time we have a new trailer, we have exclusive right to the trailer, so that gets us people. I guess that's sort of the same thing. You're the biggest Minecraft content creator.
Yeah. I am? Am I?
Sorry, I'm literally in the chat. People are freaking out about what I said. I don't know if it's true. Okay, it's just what I've been told, and I believe the CT. They only say the truth. Don't look it up, please.
Don't look it up. That's not what we want. We've talked a bit, you know, about watching YouTube and stuff like that. Do you keep a similar check on streamers on platforms like Twitch?
Yes. Every few days I search Wynncraft and I search. I check people that are playing Wynncraft. We used to have a section, the Wynncraft section on Twitch, but then they said that the server is down count and they removed it, which really sucks because I use that a lot to find people. But now I just search the word Wynncraft. So if you want me to see your stream on Twitch, write Wynncraft somewhere in it and I'll find it, maybe.
Do you think there could ever be a sort of similar highlight section but for streamers? Or is that just too much to sort of keep updated?
It's tough. Yeah, it's tough to keep track of because streamers are like they happen and then they're off and you kind of miss them if you're not up to date with it. And often you can see with the highlight, it's videos that I found that are maybe like 1 to 2 days old, so it's a little late for streams. That kind of, I don't know how to fix that. It's kind of just part of the medium itself.
Since we've been sort of focusing on doing quests in the stream, do you have a favorite quest?
Every new update, I think one of the new quests being made is like the best one. Like right now, I think Canary Calls is an amazing quest, and I think you did it like right before doing this interview with me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I saw you, and it just reminded me how cool it is. It's really tough to pick. There's a lot of cool quests, and in fact, one quest that I kind of like a lot that is really old, so it's very outdated, and it's not perfect. It needs some updates to it too. But Gravedigger, I really like, and I made it myself, so I'm a little biased.
Oh, you
But
made
it's
great-
yeah, a lot of the early Win quests I made myself with the old system that didn't use any cinematic or something. Gravedigger is good because it's again there's stuff to improve about it. It's getting old, but for its time, like 2014, it's I quite like it. gets people. It's like a level 20 quest. It gets people from Deathless to Nemrak. Like we need to kind of push them a little bit towards the town at that point. So it does a good job with that, and it gets you exploring the area a little bit. There's a small puzzle that uses existing systems, so where you have to get a drunk potion to that dude in that house, and then you have to grind a few rotten flesh in ancient Nemrak, which might make you think, oh, why is there an ancient Nemrak right there? And then you fight a little boss. It's clean little quest. I think that it's not perfect again, but it has aged well compared to other quests from that time, like fucking Macabre Masquerade, which I really hate.
Macabre Masquerade is the best. Nah, I'm kidding. No one likes it.
No, it's not. Don't try it. Don't try it.
Just the pronunciation was impossible. I had to Google it before my quest guide. But sort of about quests. Do you feel like quests not only is a sort of entertaining part on its own, but can it be used to, or is it a good tool to introduce the player to other aspects? You show off, you talk about ancient Nemrak so they know a grind spot and similar things.
Yeah. It's often in the early game we think we design quests in a way like, how could we teach the player about this thing or not? In the end game, quests become kind of in their own bubble, which is cool sometimes, but they don't really teach you anything. But they're amazing tools in the early game. Like Ensign's brother is there indirectly just to get people out and get some stuff going, and then they give you an item that you need to do Cook Assistant. Then Cook Assistant sends you to Cato Arrange, where you learn about profession, which we probably shouldn't teach them at that point, but it still does. And you see the existence of the skeleton dungeon, the decrepit sewers. That's right there, and then you might start the quest there. It gets the players out there and do things.
And
it's a good tool.
On that topic, right? One of the more controversial types of those introductionary quests is, elemental exercise. Do you think that could ever be, is there potential that it could be reworked to sort of...
Totally. I don't like it either. I don't like Macabre Masquerade. There's a lot of level 10 to 20 quests that I think we should redo. That's one of them. Definitely. It doesn't teach the right things, and it's out of nowhere. Yeah, I'm totally with the community with that.
Do you feel like perhaps, wanting to change a lot of things, but not always sort of communicating that to the community? Do you feel like they might be, a bit more upset about things than they necessarily should be because it has been thought about already?
Well, I don't know. For the early games things, I think most of the community doesn't really care that much. At least for other stuff, guess it does. We don't tell it to the community because we're not always sure we're gonna do something. We're not always sure we're gonna be able to finish it in time, and we like to keep the surprise element because it's just fun for both the team and the community. Yeah, I don't know. That's my answer to that.
Yeah. And sort of on the topic of quests, still, did you see the quest sort of poll results that were posted on the forums, ranking all the quests?
Yes, I did, but I don't remember. I think Canary Calls one, maybe?
Yeah, Canary Calls
Yeah?
and
Okay,
also
good.
Serenity. But Lost Tower
Serenity,
and
yeah.
Cook Assistant scored dead last.
Dude, I made those quests. So that's terrible. No, I know Lost Tower sucks. And dude, if you played Diablo 1, you can totally see how this influenced Lost Tower. It's like a quest where you go into town, there's an NPC telling you, find this random ass thing, and it doesn't tell you exactly where it is, but you find it, and then it's like really cramped with a lot of mobs you kill, and then a little boss at the end, and you get the book and you bring it back, and that's the end of the quest. That's totally from like Diablo 1 or something. And yeah, that's not a great quest. I'd like to also redo that. Cook assistant, it's okay, but it needs to emphasize profession less in my mind. And once that's done, I think it'll be good. So again, like people in the forum that vote for those things, they're engaged players. They like big quests.
Yeah.
But new players that start, they're the gameplay loop is a little different. They go through things a little faster, and we can't really get them in a deep, long story. We need to teach them about the systems of the game. We need to get them in and out of a quest relatively fast, because they want to progress. They're very feeble at that point. They might leave the game forever, so we need to make sure they keep going. So Cook Assistant might be seen as really bad, but it's not that bad. There's some improvements, but it does its job for the new players.
My personal sort of guess is that it's probably because a lot of the lower level things tend to score lower because they're both vague memory, but also not as sort of lore heavy and similar.
Yeah, they're simplistic, and they generally they don't make their own bubble with their own gameplay aspect. They try to get you to learn about the existing gameplay aspects of the game, like with how merchants work, or just very simple stuff like that.
But do you think that would mean that there might not be a possibility of seeing a lower level sort of quest line? Because I don't know if you saw it, but there was a quit moments forums post made, right, where they discuss, what would make you quit Wynn. And one of the things I raised is, you see a lot of the best quests are usually end game, and so new players might feel like, oh, we're getting these shorter quests and there's not like a bunch of lore happening, and perhaps there will be an ability to fit in a quest line there.
Well, often these new players don't really see these things, so they can't really think that way. But no, you're right. We wanted to do a main quest storyline from big level 1 ever since like Gavel or something, and it's true this is what's lacking. And I don't think making things simple and use like existing system instead of their own bubble, I don't think this would prevent us from doing a main quest storyline. We just haven't done it because we don't have the time. People want in-game stuff generally, so we focus on that more. But one day I'd like to do it. And we do have ideas. In fact, we've had ideas ever since before Gavel. We have the whole story plan for that area, but we haven't done it. I need to be right back again for a minute. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
It's not gonna be long.
I think the new players real the questline of Play Dwarfs Dogans. Hello, Chad. It's been a while. I'm trying to keep up, but I have all my sort of screens covered. I can try to move so I can see this instead of having to lean forward and look at a much smaller screen. I need a fourth screen. Hey chat. How are you guys doing? I will ask about Assassin, don't worry. I summarized some questions. Yeah. Do you think you could find a few more that I might have missed so far? It's hard to sort of see them when there's such a long list. But yeah, how are you guys doing? I'm doing great. I'm talking with Salted for the first time. Minnie, how dare you stream? You're missing out on all the good stuff. What's happening? Oh yeah, Minnie, he does keep track on streamers. Because you're missing it. Yeah, we've had a lot of interesting conversations. Triflame, I've noticed your tier 10 pouch. I saw Salted on mute, but it might be the thing where you have to mute again. Something's up.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Welcome back.
Oh, all right. Okay, good.
Yeah. Now I'm getting spammed by Triflame about his tier 10 pouch find. Did you notice that?
Yeah, of course. I talked to him on Discord about it. It's unbelievable. I thought for a while, because it took like a year for this to be found. I thought that it was just bugged out and it was impossible for it to drop. And then it happened. Crazy.
You think mythics should be that hard to find?
No, no. We did that with the tier 10 pouch because it doesn't really matter. Like, it's slightly better in the tier 9, but barely. Like, it's just for fun. But mythics, they're actually useful. So, no, I don't think it should be that rare.
Do you think the average player, like, you haven't really gotten into builds, you might be using more of set because you've been told, like, yeah, for the average player, you can do that. Should, like, that average player be able to find a mythic when they play through the game?
I wish it was easier for them to find stuff, and that's maybe with a rework to how loot run works, it's gonna be a little easier for your everyday person finding mythics.
But on the topic of changes, with the ability tree, right, it's been received well by a lot of players, but there has been some controversies, mainly regarding assassin. Is assassin a change we might expect? Can we see changes to its archetypes or just some rebalancing?
Yeah. So 2.0 released, and from most people's point of view, that was it. But for us, it's been more than a year of working on it every day. So after the release, we were quite burnt out, and we want to do a little something else. And doing this gives us time to think a bit what's wrong with Assassin and how we can improve it. We will definitely do big changes to Assassin. Well, depends how you see big changes, but from our point of view, it's big changes. We're not going to completely redo the archetypes. We think they're all right, but we do plan to add more abilities and change how certain abilities work so that Assassin is a little bit better. The archetype itself, I think it's kind of all right. They just need to be better at what they do. But we need a little break to both get the time to think about Assassin properly and do something else too, so we don't burn out.
Yeah. One question I've asked everyone is their favorite color. What's your favorite color?
I saw that.
And what is your favorite shade of cows?
Shit, what? Okay, well, favorite color, I'd say maybe green or orange. I don't really think about it that much. I can tell you though, the worst color is dark blue. Terrible color, especially in Minecraft. Completely unusable. Worst invention God has ever done on humankind. Shade of cow. Are they even different? Like, is the milk taste different? I don't think so. Any cow is a good cow.
Any cow's a good cow. Why was milking removed from Cow Fusion?
I don't manage quests, so I don't know. It was green. I think they found it just a little too weird. We like to be weird with quests, but there's a limit, I guess. But I wish they kept it personally, but I'm just one guy.
One guy who's owner and...
Yeah, but it doesn't mean I can do anything I want, right? It's a creative environment. You gotta let people do what they want to do. If it was just with me, we wouldn't have touched Gavel again. We would have just kept working on Fruma. But yeah, that's how it is.
So the rest of the team does have a lot of say in the content that's being made.
Yeah. After 1.20 release, we did kind of a vote, an actual vote with what should we do next? Should we do should we finish what we did with Gavel, or should we do something else? Well, I kind of wanted to do man, I feel like I'm spoiling stuff, but I kind of wanted to improve the ocean itself. But most people were like, "Oh, let's just finish up what we started," and so this is what we ended up doing. This is kind of tough on me because I have to brand updates to make them cool, and I can't really say, "Hey, this is the same update as last time, but a little better." And also, it's for the more of the end game part of Gavel this time. Like this doesn't get people excited, so I felt a lot of pressure into making the ability tree aspect better to make the update cooler in general. I don't have this problem with Fruma, thankfully now, because that's what everybody wants to focus on, and that's what we're doing.
The whole story of corruption and Fruma and Dern and everything. Do you see Wynncraft progressing and creating new content after that story has been evolved years in the future?
Yeah, well, first off, it's gonna take a long time to for us to get there, but people in the team are creative. I'm not at all worried. They're gonna find something else. Maybe even just an extension to existing things. Who knows? Like more regions in Win or Gavel or Bruma or Dern whenever that's out. I'm not too worried about that, honestly.
Yeah, when we sort of came up with that question, one of the things is that came to mind is like, well, Gavel was supposed to, I've been here for 10 years and we've only seen Gavel in work is I think from potential ocean rework, and Dern will be here for 20 more years. It's fine. How long do you see Wynncraft going on for? How do you see Wynncraft's future?
Well, I'm sure Wynncraft's definitely got some good years ahead of itself, if only because the team is fucking awesome right now, and I have total trust in them. I'm sure they're gonna do some crazy stuff that will make it worth Wynncraft staying alive. I don't know. I'm hoping Wynncraft will at least. I'm hoping it'll stay at least as popular as it is right now. It's still doing really well after 10 years. And I'm seeing it still being popular, maybe more or less, but with big updates, people will come back and so on. At least for 3 years to 5 years, maybe, easily.
And sort of on the topic of popularity, did you sort of react similar to the community's reaction when Hypixel Skyblock came out? And a lot of people thought, well, here's a more popular ripoff. These players should be playing Win instead. Did you share that concern?
No, it's a different game. And Hypixel gets a lot of shit, but I think they do a pretty good job in general. And they're very popular because they were popular before and they released a good game and then they got even more popular. It's so different. I don't think we really compete. I don't think anybody really truly competes with Wynncraft. Even Hypixel. Skyblock is awesome, but it's not the same thing. It's not really MMO the same way as Win is.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know they released that until maybe a month after. Then I'm not too worried. But they're doing a good job.
Yeah. Would you like to see Wynncraft have similar like amounts of players and popularity
as Hypixel?
Yeah.
Dude, totally. God damn, that would change everything.
A million.
Yeah, I don't think you could ask anybody and they would say no. I'd love Wynncraft to have a lot of players. That would allow us to do so much more things. Yeah. Wynncraft is like 1/40th of Hypixel right now.
Yeah. You would then have a yacht, probably.
At that point, if we got a Hypixel size, yeah, I would get a yacht. No, I wouldn't. I'd like to be just on my PC messing around. I'd probably do the same thing as I do right now, but in a less shitty apartment, probably. Did you know in the past 3 months, on the apartment on top of me, they've been renovating? And the guy, I don't know why, he spent all his time getting his goddamn hammer, hitting on the floor right on top of my head. Thankfully he stopped for Christmas, but if he kept going, we wouldn't be able to do this interview.
Wow. Yeah, apartments aren't fun. I had people shoot fireworks basically right outside my window between the apartment
Yeah.
buildings, so I understand your
Mm,
suffering.
yeah.
Perhaps a house would fit better than a yacht.
Yeah, but I can't go to a bank and say, hey, can you give me a bunch of money? I own a Minecraft server. That's my job. They don't take me seriously.
You sound experienced in how their reply would be. Um, if Win had 40k players, Guild Wars would actually be fun. I feel like it would be sort of harder to do Guild Wars. It's every
Well, if we had 40,000 players, we would make a lot more money. We could hire more people, and maybe some people to just manage guilds in general instead of just being part
yeah.
of my job.
Mm, do you feel like Guild Wars or guilds need another update? We've seen them being updated in the Gavel Reborn update, but we still see, you know, the community saying that they want a Guild Wars update and fix Guild Wars.
Yeah, I share Zero's idea about making wars a little cooler, and I agree. I think a lot of a lot of issues with guilds could be fixed if we have a lot more people in it. But it's really tough to get into right now. It's definitely designed as end game, and if you don't know what you're doing, it doesn't feel great. And there's some improvements to be done for sure.
It the whole sort of game development aspect of it all, right? You can add features, but what the community does with them, that's sort of not in your control as soon as you release something, right? With the
Right.
whole guild update, right? It was to, you know, at least I experienced that one of the purposes was to make Guild Wars more appealing, but we still see things like massive alliances hoarding the map and, you know, almost ruling with an iron fist, telling smaller guilds when they try to war, while we place dibs over this area, go play wars in this tiny corner of the map because we don't want to war, we just want to hold our territory. Is that sort of aspect of the community using tools in their own way, is that sort of hard to plan for, and is that sort of a way you didn't want to see guilds evolve after 1.20?
For sure, hard to plan of. And I did expect actually people to do these things, but I wish they were less powerful. And so that they wouldn't force new guilds to be in this tiny area. That's why I say if there's way more people that play Guild Wars, I think that would kind of fix itself because they would get too overwhelmed with the amount of new guilds that are trying to pick up, and they would have to scale down. But that's not really the case. But I did expect that. This is kind of what PvP brings. There's some people that just like this dominating aspect over other guilds, and I know it was gonna happen, and it happens now. I just wish they were a little smaller.
Yeah. And now that you mentioned PvP, the elephant in the room, right? Hunted mode. Would you want to see that changed?
Yeah, I have some good ideas for a hunting mode. Um, I don't know how successful that would be because has never been really designed for PvP. But I do have some ideas, and maybe one day we'll improve the PvP aspect of it. Stay tuned, maybe.
Now I haven't really directly been asked to ask this question, but I know some people that would want an answer. Was there a reason that disguise bombs were removed?
Oh yeah, nobody buys them. It's that simple. We sold maybe like we made maybe like $20 per year with them, maybe a little more, but nobody ever bought them. They were just, and I like to remove stuff that people don't use, like the disguise bomb or the shout box, you know.
The shop box, yeah. I talked to Nefmir about that one earlier.
Oh really?
Yeah. I had to. I knew what the answer was gonna be, but you know, Gotta entertain it. Out of the sort of newer content team members, this might sort of be a harder question to answer, seeing as you're, you know, the leader of everyone. But out of the newer members, do you feel like someone in particular is worthy of a shout out for a particularly good job?
I can't pick someone. I mean, because when you pick someone, it means you don't pick everyone else, and it's kind of unfair because some new people, they join a team, but they join at the end of an update, so they don't really have, like, we're not gonna give them a whole quest to do by themselves at the end of an update. It doesn't make sense. So they have to kind of wait in general. So they've been there for a little longer than others, but they haven't had the chance to prove themselves. So it's a little unfair. And I've been there for so long. There's some people that have been there for multiple years, and I still see as new. Like, for example, Oculus, which you interviewed, I think.
Yeah.
He's been there for a few years, but I still kind of see him as new compared to others that have been there for multiple years. So it's really tough. But just everybody that gets in the team, they're pretty good in general, even if they haven't really proved themselves.
Do you have a opinion about prof tryhards?
Prof tryhards?
Yeah.
I mean, they do what they want. I don't have a particular opinion more than guild tryhards or any other type of tryhards.
Do they sort of fund 90% of Wynncraft, or is that a misconception?
No, I'll tell you a big secret of Wynncraft. The majority of the money comes from ranks, always and forever. It's always the ranks. Bombs are good and crates and such, but they cannot compete with ranks.
Then it might be interesting to our viewers to know that we're doing a store giveaway later on in the stream. Woohoo! And you can pick a VIP rank as one of the options if you do win. We're rolling 20 winners. Anyways, back on topic.
Sounds great. Just sign up.
Yeah. We're basically giving you money.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Do you have a favorite piece of deleted content?
Oh man, what content did we delete? A bunch of stuff. But generally when we delete stuff, it's because it's not good. So I can't really... Man, what did we delete? I don't know. I don't think I do. Stuff that we delete gets removed from my mind, apparently.
It's like your brain and the sort of Wynncraft system are interconnected.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, when Wynncraft is not doing well, like it doesn't have a lot of players, people are not having great, I actually notice it affects my mood. And it's the same is true with the opposite. When a lot of people are playing Wynn and they're having a great time, and boy, am I feeling great.
So you sort of obsess over statistics in the same way we YouTubers sit and sort of look, oh, how many views and comments did this video get?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I haven't been a YouTuber in a while. You know, in my time with YouTube, they didn't tell you any of that. You had to go on external website to learn about how many views you got and all this stuff. It's terrible.
It's things get easier with time. That's a good thing. Now Teely talked a bit about a 6-part bread questline being added in the future. Is that something you would want to see?
Yeah, we're working on it right now in Fruma. It's basically half of the Fruma lore. It's all about bread. I hope you guys know your shit, because there's multiple quiz, multiple puzzle in between. Better get ready. We didn't add this NPC just for the memes. Come on, we're better than that.
Yeah.
It was all planned.
Part of me knows you both are joking. Part of me thinks that this is some secret plot that we are about to be overwhelmed with. We'll see how the future goes. Champion rank, right? It was planned or sort of launched supposed to be a subscription at first.
Yeah.
Could we ever see a subscription-based rank or subscription-based sort of perks?
Yeah, totally. It could totally happen. As much as people seems to dislike them. So you gotta think of it this way: with Wynncraft, we have to pay every month for the multiple dedicated servers. We have like I think 25 right now, plus the proxies. I think just keeping Wynncraft alive is 5,000 a month. That we just so that it's up, and that's not including paying for like the development and everything else. And the issue with ranks is that they only bring money once, and that's why a subscription is always a little interesting because it allows us to have a stable income that could help pay for all of these costs that are constant for us but not for the users.
Could we ever see subscription-based bombs or totems?
Maybe. I do have some ideas, but I haven't. I need to put a little more work into it. It would probably be a little like its own separate thing. It can't just be a subscription for bombs and nothing else, because I don't think it would be that popular. But it could be something else and then bombs, maybe. I still need to work on it.
Could we sort of see the return of Tassim, perhaps, in Fruma?
Awesome. Oh yeah. Maybe. As if I'm gonna answer that.
Yes, we're eagerly awaiting all the Fruma leaks. No, we've tried to balance the questions on both upcoming things, but also other aspects.
It's been good questions so far. You're good at this.
For the first time, I feel like it's gone quite well so far. Minor panic attacks every now and then. For the first time,
dude, you've been interviewing people for 3 days.
Oh, I guess. I mean, like, for first time interviewing people ever, these 3 days have gone okay. But yeah, it's been fine. We saved the ultimate boss to the end, I guess. But I'm just looking through here. Time-gated content, right? We've seen sort of the time troubles and the time value added, right?
Yeah.
Do you think, and we also heard from IMAX that you can talk to Olan after Eldery Secret Part 2 for some more time-gated content. Do you think that maybe perhaps in connection to world bosses that we talked to would be an interesting way of creating unique bosses that you might need to grind several days in a row with an extreme small chance of some unique drops?
Well, maybe not that extreme, but the time-gated stuff is only possible because of our recent script 2 improvements. But I like them in general because they're kind of a healthier way of having a game as a service, which is what Wynncraft is. It promotes people just logging in for a little bit every day instead of playing for like 8 hours a day. And yeah, you could definitely see more of it, though I don't think it's a specific thing we're trying to target right now.
And sort of on the topic of time value, right? We did see a rework of early game content to try to amend new players sort of leaving in the game. But that, at least from the community's sort of point of view, because we don't really see the statistics, but that gave the impression of the next threshold where people now instead start leaving is in the level 40s to 60s.
Dude, yes, okay, there's like 3 spots right now that are a little bad for Wynncraft that we want to improve. Level 40s are one of those. Actually, I said 3. What's the other one? I don't remember. Anyway, there's the level 40 and there's the level 10 to 20 that we need to improve. Everything else is kind of quite healthy. Yeah, I mean, people meme about that, but retention is important. This is what gets people to keep playing and makes Wynncraft more successful. in general. A lot of a lot of players are new players. Like I think Wynncraft right now, at least during Christmas, gets like 1,000 new players every day. So if you follow that logic, it means we also lose 1,000 players every day that they never play again. So the more we can get them to love Wynncraft and keep going with it, the more successful Wynncraft is in general. But level 40s definitely is a weak point. Level 10s also a weak point. And perhaps 60s as well. I need to check, but it does make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that you sort of keep track on all of it so we know, but is it sort of a bit odd that, you know, a big part of the community is either new players who are recently joined, and the other half are like OGs who have been here for 10 years? Is that a sort of odd combination?
It's this is the kind of secret that people don't know about games. At least free-to-play games. Most people quit the game really fast, and the only way you can be kind of successful or on a long period of time is to have a constant influx of players and good retention. This is what gets you players and gets them playing. Generally, games, like I've read a lot about this. Generally, games have 5 to 15% of their players at all time that are new, like they're playing for the first time right now. And this is the rate we're seeing with Wynncraft as well. It's quite common, believe it or not.
What are some challenges with retention?
Well, it's new players, when they come, they don't give a crap about the game. You try to get them to play the best you can, but the majority are gonna leave. I think, look, here's some numbers. On average with games, not Minecraft servers. I think Minecraft servers is all lower because it's like a step behind. You have to log into Minecraft and then log into the server. But for free-to-play games, generally, they have a 40% day one retention, which means 40% of the player that plays comes back the next day, which means 60% quit right there and never come back. And these things just keep going, and then it's like 30% for the next day, and then so on and so on until like 10 to 20% on day 7. So people leave really fast your game, and you try to get them to like the game as fast as possible so that they're going to become a more long-term type of player. So you need to not be too harsh on them. You need to make sure they learn the game and they learn the fun parts of it. And like in the tutorial in 2.0, we added this to teach people about the ability tree. We added like this red circle that flashes to tell you how to unlock your ability. If we didn't do that, it will probably quite heavily influence retention, because people might just not figure it out and then just leave and never come back. They don't care. They're not Wynncraft players. They're just trying it out for the first time. So you need to be quite careful with them.
Would you sort of, we did see it in 2020, I believe, or 2021. I don't know. The pandemic is sort of one blob in my brain at this point. But we did see Tommy in it join the server, making at least, I think he made 2 videos or something.
Yeah, he made 2 videos.
Yeah. Someone in chat wonders, would you ever pay for bringing larger YouTubers to Wynn for promotion?
Yeah, we could do it. We didn't have to do it for a while, so we didn't do it. But every so often, the needs come. I think we've done it in 2021. We paid a few just medium-sized YouTubers to give it a try, and it's always well worth it. If you're a server owner right now trying to figure out ways to get players on your server, YouTubers are a good way for it. Tommy in it was quite good in general. People often like shit talk it, but we just sent him an email saying, hey, you want to try our server? Like, we didn't say, hey, you'll get some money, whatever. He just said, yeah, let's do it. And he made a video about it. Then he made a second video about it. We never gave him anything. He was just very nice in general. He liked the server very well. He wanted to make a video on it, and he was a nice dude in general. I liked him.
So when the community sort of reacted, sort of to his, I'm assuming he was then joking when he was sort of being a bit silly on the GM world.
Yeah, of course. He has to make content. You're a YouTuber, you know that. You have to make things a little interesting. In fact, before the call, he even told us, you know, this. Oh man, is that a secret? He told us a little bit like, this is like my character. This is Tubbo's character, and we're gonna go on your server, and we're gonna we're gonna be these characters on your server. And we totally understood it. I was a YouTuber too. I totally understand the need for content.
Because that is something you might have seen it, but us other YouTubers discussed it a lot when it happened. Because how the community sort of saw it was, you know, because we weren't really, I mean, viewers, many of us, was from like, why is he acting this way? If we were invited, we would have sort of treated it with more respect.
Yeah, but would you get the same amount of views from treating it with respect? Probably not. They had a channel, you know.
Yeah, I mean that's why I'm at 10K and not 10 million. I'm boring. No, yeah, the different sort of styles attract different types of people, but sort of, did you see a noticeable increase in players and player retention since then?
Yeah. So people meme because YouTubers make videos and suddenly a lot of players come and then it drops down as if that's it. But videos stays on for a long time, and players from their videos always come in very slowly over time. Most people in general just quit Wynn, and there's nothing special about the YouTubers. About the players that YouTubers brings. In fact, very often these players have higher retention for some reason, and they stick around for way longer. But because it's like a burst and then it drops down, people see it as if, oh, now they're all of them left. But that's not really the case. There's still a lot of people that came from those, and they're still around, and it trickles down slowly over time. Like Tommy Innett's video is like 2 years old now. Yeah. I think it got like 1.5 million views over all of these years. So it got some people in very slowly. You just don't notice them because they're more subtle, smaller.
Green, for example, right? He used to talk about Wynn sometimes in his Hermitcraft videos whenever there was a new trailer. Is that something that hasn't really happened with 2.0 and Gavel Reborn? Was that intentional or?
No, Gavel Reborn did have something. It just was, he, instead of putting the Gavel Reborn trailer, he put a different trailer that I made, like the shortened Wynncraft trailer for it. But for 2.0, maybe soon he will do it. There's no rush to do it. Like when the update just happens, we have so many players, we don't really want more. And then when we feel like the time is right, we tell him, yo, how about let's do it now? And he's always up for it.
Because he could always hint at certain types of content for new players to find help in. I mean, what? Too many self-inserted jokes here. Or ads.
Do you see changes in your videos when big YouTubers make videos about Wynn?
I didn't really notice when Tommy did a video, but when Hypixel was DDoSed, but Wynn stayed up. I think I got 12,000 views in one day, which is, for people who might not, you know, that is at least twice, on bad day 3 times as much as the daily average.
Yeah, dude, this was a fucking crazy time that Hypixel went down. Yeah, I think we reached like 4.5k players when that happened. It's unbelievable.
And And same with 2.0. I think it's a record-breaking year for the channel.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I love to hear that.
But that's something I've been thinking of, right? Because previously we've only seen Glitched Slayer, who was more of a joke, sort of half serious type of video content creator, reach this sort of high before in terms of sub count. So
Yeah.
it's
How
a bit
many
of,
subs did he get?
I think he got to like 10, 11K before he sold his channel and deleted everything.
Yeah, I remember he sold it. That's just kind of sad. Huh.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Did you back in the day keep a sort of up to date on content creation? For example, when Adventures with Hippie and Mr. Sebulonian were the more prevalent.
Yeah,
YouTubers?
I watch all of those almost fully, pretty much. It's the same with your videos, dude. I don't watch your quest guide generally because I don't do quests that much. But every other videos, I watch it until the end. I'm a big fan.
The answer to why quest guides don't get highlighted.
Yeah, the quest guide is it's like an evergreen type of content, right? It's not necessarily for a lot of views right now. It's for the slowly over time people searching for it.
Yeah. Excluding myself, because you know I'm hosting the interview, it would sound inappropriate. But excluding my channel, is there a video on Wynncraft that you sort of watch over and over again? Do you have a favorite sort of Wynncraft video?
I don't think there's one I watch over and over again, but you can be sure that every person that I put on highlight, I watch their video fully until the end. There's a lot of other people too. I mean, that even need to say it. There's K-Maxi, of course. There's Draco. There's what's it? There's a new dude that is kind of quite recent, has been making videos about builds and stuff. I promoted his video on highlight a few days ago. He'll know if he sees this. Man, let me look at highlight actually. All of those people, I like them. Let me see. Make sure I say their name out loud. Mine is Looney. That's the guy that makes this kind of stuff. It's Jerry Stout that makes cool music. The fucking Parasite that make one cool video. That's awesome. Flop Studios, he made like 2 videos about the game that's really good. Butter Dragonfly, I watched his entire playthrough of the game until the end. Even the meme videos, I watch them. I watch fucking everything. Renee, fucking Sushi, Night Baker. Oh, I love Night Baker. He made such cool videos. But he kind of stopped now, right? He's not making much videos anymore.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot since.
Yeah,
sort of
you should make some
signed
more.
it.
Yeah, Glazer is also good. Somebody said that in the
We
channel.
have Jerry
Hello,
who
this-
made the recently highlighted cover in chat.
Yeah, I don't know. I watch the whole thing and more. I don't put everybody's videos, but still watch them.
Jerry even worked on some of the lo-fi remixes that have been
Really?
playing in the background. Yeah.
Dude, your lo-fi project was so cool. It's something I kind of wanted for a while. I kind of wanted to do for a while, but I didn't do it because I didn't have the time. But you did it, and that makes a difference. And that's just cool. I wish you could keep the stream going, dude.
I wish that too. Europe electricity prices, dude.
I know. Russia ruins everything, man. Even Wynncraft. Can't believe it.
Has the conflict in Ukraine affected the amount of players?
No, not at all. I didn't notice anything. The only thing that really affected the player count without us doing anything is or a YouTuber made a video or COVID happened, which is pretty much it.
Did that increase or decrease?
COVID? No, it increases a ton. It's one of the reasons our latest updates have been kind of very popular. At least 1.20. There was a lot of players that suddenly had a lot of time, and even people in our team suddenly had a lot of time. They were able to make a lot of content. Just, I know it's a terrible tragedy like COVID. It's really bad, and I'm not like really happy it happened. But Wynncraft, I guess, benefited from it without our knowledge at the time.
You didn't start the pandemic to get more players, is what you're saying.
Well, that's what people think. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, the pandemic did double my yearly amount of views.
Yeah, see, it's the same thing with you.
So it was rather crazy.
Yeah.
I want to sort of go back to a sort of different topic. When it comes to professions, right? The best way to level up currently your craftings is by using ingredients, right? And we recently saw a merchant added in Sinfras in the airbase to
Yeah.
help the level 60s areas to be able to buy ingredients in for rather affordable compared to the market for that level range. Do you think we could see something similar to that added for all level ranges? Sort of mostly
Mm.
so the higher levels where it requires way more crafting.
Well, maybe I kind of like to get people on the train market instead, because when they spend money on there, it gives money to other players, and it kind of keeps a nice loop of the economy. While if a merchant is selling ingredients, it's a good way to delete emeralds, I guess, but it doesn't really promote that. It's kind of an easy cheat code in a way, because you can always just go to the merchant, and if there's a merchant for every level range, just that's how you level your crafting. You know, you craft a bunch of stuff, you buy a bunch of ingredients, and then you level up, and so on and so forth. I'm not sure we're gonna add that everywhere. We kind of do it every so often, but we try to be careful with it.
Um, Now I know we briefly talked about like social media when I made a joke about being a social
Right.
media representative. um, is there a reason that Wynncraft isn't advertised more on social media?
I don't know. Do other servers advertise on social media, except YouTube? I guess. I don't think so.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. We have like 4 social media. We use Discord a lot. Discord is our main one,
Mhm.
and I think we do a good job with that. We have a lot of people, and we tag people when there's big updates. We have YouTube, but that's for the big stuff like the trailers and such. We have Reddit, but Reddit's a smaller type of thing, and we have Twitter, which is
Yeah.
it is what it is, and it's, I don't know. I don't feel like we need to advertise on social media. If we need to advertise, it would be more with influencers on YouTube.
Yeah. Um, would you sort of want larger YouTubers if they sort of made videos on YouTube to stay around, or is sort of making 1-2 videos and then leaving for something else equally fine, thinking, you know, if their viewers sort of follow what the content creator does, is there not a risk that when they switch to, oh, now I'm doing a video about modded or different servers, that might affect retention?
I'm sure it does affect retention, but this is kind of the curse with Wynncraft. And what's good about it, Wynncraft is a long-term game. It's not a minigame server. You can't just play a game and then that's it. Yeah, it's like a long story, and a lot of YouTubers just they can't really commit to this type of long-term shenanigans, and their viewers don't really want them to either. They want new stuff every so often. And I remember in 2013, 14, it was really tough to get people to play Minecraft because they'd rather play on Mineplex or Hypixel. It's a lot of little mini game. It's very easy. They can make 50 videos and they're all different every time. But Minecraft is one storyline, and so it makes it harder to get YouTubers to play Minecraft. But it's it's kind of what made Wynncraft really resilient over the years, because we're still around, I guess. People, when they get into Wynncraft, they get it hard and they generally tend to stay.
um I'm just checking here. Yeah, will there be new off materials with an ink
Rumor?
in Fruma? And will that sort of be adapted level-wise?
This is the kind of stuff we leave for generally late into the cycles because it's quite easy to make or change. But we do plan to have some more profession stuff in Fruma. Not necessarily a lot, but so a little more than what we got right now. Yo,
So,
I gotta bring it back for 1 minute again. I'm sorry.
yeah, that is fine.
I'm the only guy only guest you have that does this all the time.
Oh,
But
that is fine.
whatever.
That's,
I'll be right back.
that's fine. Gives me a bit of a second to catch up with chat here. I'm just gonna... All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. I did a bit of a shout. Salted went away for a second for everyone who just joined us. We'll be back in a moment. If you have any question, let us know, and my event managers, or as you see them as moderators in chat, will help out to send those questions to me, because I'm not keeping up with chat currently. It's doing both quests and everything all at once, and I'm just shift clicking there. Alec is here. Hello. Been a while. Do the giveaway with Salted and Call. I feel like that is time we could spend on interviewing Salted instead of doing a giveaway. But yeah, maybe I'm talking a bit too tired or something, but I'm a bit more sort of calmed down at this point. I've internalized the nervousness. Do you have a quest guide for question mark quest? Yes. I believe in the... Oh, Salted unmuted, but it has to do it twice because the thing is weird. Maybe I should just give you event manager and it would just help with everything. You can see a lot of secret channels now, but perhaps that works? Nope. And he disappeared. Oh. Hello? No. What are these suspicious issues? Oh, I know what it might be. I'm gonna try to fix it. Salted is not able to talk for some reason, so let me just fix that. Hello? No? Nah, he DM'd me. Keep getting disconnected on stage. Maybe I should, hello, Salted. Can we hear you? We can't hear you. Perhaps it's a microphone issue. Is Discord perhaps selecting the default microphone instead of your normal microphone? No technical issues. Move to audience and back to... no, didn't work. Oh, I heard something.
All right, awesome.
Oh, there we go.
It's so weird. I don't know what's wrong with Discord. I don't have this issue usually.
Yeah. Well, you're back. For my event managers that were enjoying the non-delay, they are now gonna be suffering the delay, but that is fine. It's only like
it's like 5 seconds.
5 seconds.
It's fine.
Yeah. It should be fine. This apartment has great Wi-Fi. That's at least the one good thing. Um, um, we've gotten a few questions here.
Yeah.
But let me just switch to my Discord server here so I can see all of them. We talked with Draco on day one, I believe. He was one of our first guests. And we asked him if, what he would like to see added. And I also asked him, if he could ask you something, what would he want to sort of ask about? And he was wondering, do you think we could ever see mounts or gadgets that would be different from horses, but could there also be something that would allow flying in the future?
Um, yeah. Well, mounts are kind of tough. And in fact, I kind of asked Zero or somebody not too long ago about doing different type of mounts, and it is apparently quite hard because uh, I'm not sure the reason, but it's apparently quite hard in Minecraft. But I would definitely like to do them. I've wanted for a while to have a flying month that you could ride instead of a horse. That'd be really cool, but it's also a little bit of work. For the gadget, I don't really know what he means by that.
Well, sort of, I guess if a mount like a Pegasus wouldn't be able to sort of fit into the world to allow for flying, could there perhaps be like, this is just me sort of brainstorming what he might have meant, but like a Korkian gadget that's similar to an Elytra to allow
All
for
right,
flying?
just like a different mount, but yeah, okay. Yeah, it's the same. It's the same thing, honestly. If a mount is not a horse, then it becomes like 20 times harder or something. We'd like to do it. It's just some work.
Yeah. Could you describe your favorite area in Fruma with as few words, one or two, that are as vague and non-descriptive as possible?
um, Leaf.
Ah, you went for that one. You were here, weren't you? You were listening.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, you'll see. It makes sense.
I'll see you in the DMs, right? Wink, wink.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people ask, but I believe you sort of touched on that topic earlier. Will we see improvements made to housing?
Perhaps it is part of the stuff I do want to improve, and we do have some good ideas. Maybe one day.
Now, I just want to sort of ask about this because when I planned this event, I took a bunch of GMs that I've had in my DMs from before and plopped them into a group that I called CT Collection, right? And
Okay.
somehow that spread like wildfire because I was getting DMs and messages from other CTs. Apparently, someone snitched. Did you hear about that whole collection before I reached out?
I think I did see something, like somebody probably posted in our social chat just a message like, "Wow, look at this strange things about Linus adding me." Probably. I'm not up to date that much about it. Wait, what happened? Did you get like a bunch of random requests for doing interviews?
Well, they didn't really know it was interviews at that point. I just, a few minutes after I got messages from Renee like, why are you collecting CTs? And then I got a bunch of other content team members reached out. I was like, I want to be in a collection. And I'm like, who's this?
Collecting them all.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon.
Yeah.
I'm stealing your Pokemon. I think I'm gonna put in my own group. But yeah, it's quite rare that, I don't think you've been sort of publicly interviewed before. I know you've hosted streams, and I know, for example, Grian was interviewed when Mr. Sebulonian way back in the day did the weekly win. He also interviewed Hams. But was there a sort of reason you agreed on this happening?
Well, I never do interviews because I'm quite an anxious person myself, and this kind of stuff that stresses me out. And it's the same with this interviews. Like 3 hours beforehand, I was kind of ready. I couldn't get into a big project until we did that. What was the question again? Just if there was a reason why I did did this with you. Well, well, I do like your videos, and I like your stuff. I don't know. It was like a big event, and I thought, well, might as well do it. Like, I can't just always be in my own little corner without ever talking.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it makes me a bit sort of not feeling as alone in the whole being nervous whole thing, you know.
You should see me like before the ability tree stream when me and Zero just talk about all the abilities. I was so fucking stressed out. I probably went through like 2 bottles of wine in the middle of this because of how stressed out I was. And it's the same with like the release of the 2.0 trailer. I was really stressed out, and I've always been kind of like this.
But you're the cool one. You're not supposed to be nervous.
Yeah, well, it's just how I am. I can't really change that.
Salted is a wine mom, says Dave Svage.
Well, I am getting old.
Yeah. Someone in chat I noticed said, would it be possible to add more horizontal progression to archetypes? For example, in the current ability tree, the vertical progression is pretty narrow. Could there be a function to... wait. And then they split up the question. For example, have separate archetype points that can expand skill effects or passive abilities.
Maybe, but I'm trying to keep the archetype system a little simpler than the item system. And generally, horizontal progression makes things a little more complex. That's kind of what we ran into with the item system. So maybe you could add some, but probably not in a significant way, because I do want them to stay simple. If we add more abilities, it's probably going to be vertical.
How sort of much are you sort of up to date when it comes to the lore? Because sort of one of our questions is, you know, will we ever see Wynncraft progress past the year 1000 after Portal?
I barely do anything with lore. It's the one part of the game really that I let other people handle, which is Grian and the CT. I've never been that much of a big fan of story in games in general. So I don't know. That's gonna be up to them. I still keep track of what they're doing, but it's gonna depend on them. I don't have that much input into that.
I guess, you know, I better reach out to Gree and ask for an interview. No, that would never happen.
Yeah.
Do you know if Grian keeps up to date on Wynncraft content?
Well, if by content you mean like quests and discoveries, yeah, totally. He tests everything, and he's part of every quest that has been made ever since Gavel, easily,
Oh,
and discoveries.
Yeah, I more so meant content creation.
Content creation.
As in, like,
no,
you know,
it's
does
not
he sort of keep up with YouTubing?
Oh, okay, yeah, I get it. No, I don't think he does. He likes to keep it to work on the content of Wynncraft itself. I think he has like a lot of other work elsewhere, so I don't think he spends that much. Maybe he does, and he never told me. I wouldn't know.
One of my managers said, you know, he thinks you should stream snipe me. And that reminded me, right? I don't know if you remember, but I certainly do. I believe I was just, you know, minding my own business on Wynn, recording a Hunter's Calling quest guide, and you teleported into my face and just flew away suddenly. Was that... What was the story behind that?
What, like 2 years ago or 3 years ago?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I teleport to a lot of people all the time. I guess I forgot to be vanished this one time I've seen you multiple times. In fact, I think like 2 days ago I was in Sinfras and I think I saw you out just walking around. Um, but I don't know this particular story.
Are you in Vanished often?
I'm basically always in Vanish. Not that I don't like the community. I just like to I just like to run around in Wynncraft and look at people playing the game and being in my own little space instead of having people like say, yeah, the instant I unvanish, people start recognizing me, and then it brings more people, and I start having like a big bubble of people around me. That's not really what I'm looking for most of the time.
It's more like play the game, don't look at me. Now I lost sort of my train of thought here. Would you consider, I'm taking this one from chat, would you consider Grian and other admins as close friends or just a business partner?
Trent's definitely a friend. Jumla, I've talked to less and met less, but I still met him in real life, and he's still a friend. But we haven't had the chance to talk a lot lately. Grian a little more, that's for sure.
Do you have a favorite class?
Well, I'm super biased. I design every archetype, and I wouldn't design something that I think is bad. So I kind of like everything. If I were back in my teenage years playing an RPG like I usually do, I would probably pick something like this Shaman Summoner or the Archer Trapper, because that's kind of the stuff I generally liked. But I also always liked Assassins a lot. And I'll say I would pick everything. I love Warrior, it's a well balanced thing. I would probably play Fallen because I like this high risk, high reward gameplay. And for Mage, I would probably, for the same reason, play Arcanist. I like them all, that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's good that you like them all. Bracewell is leaking some things about you and Crunkle in chat here.
Appropriate relationship. I'm just a really good friend with Jared, and he likes to say random stuff. We don't have anything.
Let's see. Oh. Why does Arcanist deal so little damage? Does Arcanist deal... I don't always understand all the questions. But...
Well,
yeah.
I thought Arcanist did alright damage, but apparently it doesn't yet, and it needs some more buff. But I don't think it's that bad. It's still doing quite alright, I think.
Would it ever be possible to trade cosmetics with another player?
No, never.
Why?
Well, maybe that changed since then, but it's basically based on the Mojang ULA that prevented you from having, what did they call it, a hard currency, I think? Things that you pay with real money and then you can kind of use to trade.
Mm-hmm.
But and maybe that changed since then. They did update it back in 2021, which allowed us to do more things. But now all of our system are kind of based around the fact that people can't trade cosmetics, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
Someone asks how many times you've beaten your own game.
What does that truly mean to beat Wynncraft? I've played every type of content. I'm not sure if I beaten every like raid or something, but I did see it through the end. Sometimes I cheated to test other things, but I've finished in that way at least every raid, most quests, most discoveries, most boss. It's hard to tell. I have a different relation with Wynncraft than most of you guys have, I believe. I'll beat Legendary Island. Yeah, okay, I never beat Legendary Island, okay? I know failed at
Oh.
Mummy Board, but I swear, I used to beat Mummy Board really easily, but there was a bunch of bugs during the live stream, and I couldn't do it. I'm not that bad, I swear.
Could we ever see more streams like the one we saw for 2.0 in the future?
I don't know. As I said, they kind of stressed me out, and we did the 2.01 because we had so much to show. We couldn't put it in a changelog. Maybe. Let me think. Yeah, maybe we will. I don't know if it's the same context with Fruma. If it will be worth a stream. I don't know. I'll think about it.
I mean, if you are too nervous, you know who to reach out to help out. I'm kidding. I should stop. I should stop with the self ads. I hope they're not annoying.
No, it's fine, dude.
Do you think it's sort of a weird feeling when you're regarded as super popular?
I don't think I'm as popular as I used to be with Crafted Movie, so I guess I got used to it. But it's kind of all right. It's not like I read that stuff all the time. I just do my own things. Oh Jesus! And then suddenly I go on the Discord and somebody's posting a weird ass story about eating me on the forums, and I'm like, wow, damn, it's kind of strange. And then I keep on with my day. It doesn't affect me that much.
But I wonder if that was the forums post people wanted to ask if you had seen, but I
Totally
didn't
is.
I didn't read it. I was like, I can't read this.
I didn't read it fully either, but I kind of went over it, and I thought, "Yep, that's another one of those," and that was it.
Because you know, I'm a relatively small and unimportant content creator.
Don't say that.
Well, I mean, in relation to other things. But you know, for me, it's an odd feeling when people approach me and they're like, "Oh my god, hold on, it's 10. It's crazy. I gotta take
It
a
has to
screenshot."
happen a bit in Wynncraft, no?
Yeah, it happens all the time. I
Yeah.
get DMs all the time. But to me, it's a weird feeling because I'm just a regular, you know, player just who happens to have a microphone and recording software.
Well, it's the same with me, except I guess on a different scale. I'm just a random dude in his apartment doing a Minecraft server. It's not that unbelievable.
But yeah, so that's sort of. Do you feel like the same sort of shock? When...
Well, I've gotten used to it. I think honestly over the years, if somebody recognized me in game, I'm like, yep, that's me, and I just keep going on with it. I had this way more with Crafted Movie, especially like in the first year when we were way more popular. That was cool, but yeah, that was like 12 years ago almost now. So it's,
Really?
I'm over that.
Do you think Wynncraft could ever sort of, because I know you and Grian went to Minecon back in the day and you had Wynncraft pens and things and everything. Do you think for like Wynncraft could ever have like a convention or be part of a larger convention but have like their own little booth?
Like in real life?
Yeah.
I mean, it would need to be something like Minecon where it makes sense, and I think Minecon like it doesn't exist anymore, at least in the offline way.
Yeah.
So probably not. There's not enough people in Wynncraft. I don't think there's any convention that would make sense to have Wynncraft. There's Wynncraft is popular, but I don't think it's popular enough for a convention. Anyway, I don't like going outside of my house, so I'm not sure I would do it.
Behind, sort of inside, working on Win. See, you are living the dream. How does that feel?
Yeah. Oh, it's awesome. I kind of forget about it sometimes. I have to remember myself. Man, it's pretty cool what I'm doing, but it becomes normal life.
Yeah. Everyone talking about merch again. Merch would be really cool.
Yeah, I know.
salted body pillow. That would sell.
Okay.
Ava body pillow. You'd
Yeah,
make
more like
millions, dude.
Ava.
You'd make millions.
Oh, you're right. It's good.
Oh yeah, J-Bib would be happy. Colossal rat. Also, perfect plushie.
I don't think he can. Yeah, okay, maybe as a plushie, not as a body pillow though.
Yeah.
He's too fat.
Yeah, it would be a double size, a thick size
Yeah.
version. Yeah. We're sort of switching topic here before we are drowning in Ava Simpson, Laurie Stans. Let's see. Okay, one of my managers says we have a great question incoming, so let's see what they're typing out here. Is it true that Salted was born in Gabble? I'm assuming it refers to your forums profile where it says from Gabble.
Well, it's a little weird because Salted existed before Wynncraft even existed, so I can't really say that's true. Salted is not part of the Wynn lore. It doesn't really exist. He's just another player in the game, just like everyone else from Fruma.
Speaking of sort of Salted in game, could we ever see a rival theology, a rival to bovimism?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know much I want to do that, but in Crafty Movie we have like Peppered, which is like the opposite of Salted. I don't think this should be a theology in Wynncraft, but it'd be funny to have against cow. You know, by the way, this cow religion was not my idea or anything. It's the team that went on a funny meme about cows and meat, I guess, who made like a religion based on that. I never approve of this. I don't want people to think that I'm that egocentrical.
So you don't see yourself as the like all-knowing god of Wynncraft?
Well, I guess I'm the owner, but not like in the lore or something. They just made that for fun. Then they made a cow quest. What's wrong with them? They just can't stop.
Shifting the blame here, I'm feeling. Sort of speaking of, you once, a lot of people were being, saying things on the Discord, and, you said, I'm not the only one behind these decisions. Who sort of, other than you, what is the sort of deciding factor of something happening in game?
It really depends on the thing they're working on. If it's a quest, I basically have barely any input. Sometimes I test quests and I give some feedback, but that's pretty much it. It's mostly between Grian and the GM doing stuff. Generally, my job is working on pillar systems for people to work on, or features, and that's the one where I have the most input. If the team wants to do something and I'm against it, I still have to do the things the team want, because it's a creative environment and people do a better job when they really believe in what they make. And if the team says we have to do that, then so be it.
Very, very interesting. Because we've talked with a lot of content team members, and it's about I'm either given this task or we brainstorm. How is it to?
Oh, yeah, I'm talking about like more like encompassing things for individual quests. Then it kind of changes eventually.
Yeah. How is it to manage both a voluntary team but also a paid team?
Well, it's different. I don't really like managing in general. I just do it because I don't really have a choice. The paid team, you can be a little more tough. Like say we gotta do this and that by this time roughly, and then they do it with their own. I never tell them exactly what to do. They kind of come up with their own stuff, but there's more expectations from it. While a volunteer team, it's a lot more like way more free. If somebody wants to only do a house, they would only want to build a house for 9 months, then so be it. That's what they're gonna do. They're not paid. We can't really be dicks about it. We don't want to either, and that's what they decide on. So it's more free flowing. It's more like uncertain, unsure. While the paid people generally, it's a lot more certain about what's gonna happen.
I'm seeing things such as people wanting a dating minigame. I think it's been talked about before, but could there ever be like a marriage system in Wynn?
Yeah, in other MMOs, you can marry other people, and you gain something like 5% XP bonus, and that's it. It's mostly like for cosmetic. I wouldn't be against it in Wynncraft, I guess. I just don't see it as such a huge deal. We haven't done it yet, but maybe one day we will. It sounds like kind of easy to implement.
Is there something that's been requested or asked for by the community that you would sort of never want to add?
I don't know. I don't think there's anything committee did that. At least nothing that really strike and stayed in my head ever since. So I can't think of anything. No.
So I'm hearing the possibility for the Olinestein questline. Great.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I joke when I'm nervous.
Yeah, it's funny jokes.
But yeah, have you sort of talked with our other guests, or how sort of have you heard about their experiences?
What, being interviewed by you?
Yes.
No, not really. I mean, I memed around with alcoholism when he said I wasn't. Wait, what is it? That I wasn't as tough on. I can't find it. People talk way too much in this chat. I memed about it. No, I don't think we really talked about these interviews much. Why are you scared that I like prevented them from saying something specific?
Oh no, I more so wondered, you know, did anyone make you less or sort of more nervous of what might sort of how it might go?
No, everybody had a good experience, I think, so far. I think. I haven't talked to them about it.
But yeah, no, I think I tried to make it clear that I would try to filter most of the things that would be leaking relevant, but they've been very sort of, you know, restricted on their own on what they answer. For example, you know, net me earlier today, then, you know, I can't really answer that and things like that. So no, I don't really, you know, I don't think they have something looming over their backs, you know, that they're...
Yeah, they probably leaked less than I did.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if there's anyone that would be sort of allowed to leak, it's
yeah, I guess it'd be me, right?
yeah.
Oh man, they're so nice. I should rewatch the interview to see how what they did. Ugh, what a cool team.
Yeah, they're I got a question here. DM'd to me directly. Is there a reason that you are punished more for dying when you are doing professions due to the fact that you lose more materials?
I don't think there's a specific reason for that. I think it was just part of dropping more and more valuable things as you lose soul points. But as I said, soul point system is kind of flawed. I don't like it myself, and I can't quite think of a reason why profession drops more. It was probably just a okay. When designing this, what is more valuable, what is less valuable, and we thought, all right, I guess materials and junk items, emeralds are a little less valuable, while identified items are more valuable. And I guess there's the aspect of hunted, where profession people use hunted to get XP, and so they lose more if they get killed from it. It's not a good system. I'd like to change it.
A question from chat is, what do you think Wynncraft's biggest flaw is?
Man, I don't like. Wynncraft has a lot of flaws. It has also a lot of good stuff, but a lot of flaws too, and I definitely see them. What's the biggest one? The one that likes the most hurtful to Wynncraft. I guess the fact that Wynncraft doesn't have deep endgame, I think, is the worst one. I guess the second one, if I had to give two somehow, it's the fact that Wynncraft is not really great for YouTubers and such, and that kind of limits our reach with that. But definitely, I'd like to do more with endgame. I think it's the biggest flaw right now.
Funny that you mentioned YouTubers, because something I've sort of seen is that a lot of the content creators I've met over my time, so to say, if they sort of want to work or, you know, have content creation be their job, they tend to want to opt out of doing only Wynncraft content because they feel Wynn limits your growth. And I mean, I think that might be the case. I'm not sure how far you could go with Wynncraft in the current state, but would you want to see content creators sort of either come in for a brief moment, or would you sort of prefer if they stayed and perhaps helped the whole community, just, you know, of content creators staying and focusing on
Both
winning?
have their own goals. I think I would definitely love for WinTubers to be able to, well, maybe not make a job out of it, because Wynncraft is kind of small, relatively speaking. But if Wynncraft were to be bigger, I'd love for YouTubers that are fully like WinTubers, I think it's what people call them.
Mm.
I'd love for WinTubers to be successful and be able to make money and make content with all this stuff. It's good for Wynncraft. It's good for them too. It's like it keeps people active around Wynncraft. They're interested. I still watch RuneScape videos, man, and I haven't played RuneScape in, is it 2022, in like 16 years. And these things stick around with you for a long time. I'd love for Wynn to have the same thing. And for the YouTubers that only come for a little time and then they switch off, they're not really WinTubers. They're just YouTubers looking for content for a short amount of time. And what they bring, contrary to WinTubers, is new players that are discovering Wynncraft. And from that context, it kind of makes sense that they don't stick around that much. They have their own followers and they need new stuff constantly for them to keep them around. So they go from a game to another game, then Wynncraft, and then another game, then another game, and it's fine. Wynncraft gains from this, they gain from this, and the WinTubers are kind of different in my mind. They're more like a constant thing that keeps people engaged with the game, and I think the way for them to be for us to have more WinTubers is for Wynncraft to be bigger, so that when doing only Wynncraft for YouTubers is worthwhile for most of them, which I don't think is the case for many right now, unfortunately.
Yeah. Do you hold a certain higher regard of WinTubers because they're so like dedicated to just this server?
Well, maybe not higher regards. I definitely watch them a lot more than these other YouTubers. It's just different. I don't think I'd say they're more valuable or less than others. They're definitely important in their own ways.
Now, sort of on the topic of growth, I know we've talked about, you know, getting other content creators to do content on Wynn. Are there other ways of growing Wynncraft?
Than YouTubers. Well, other servers often do these terrible server list type thing, but we don't like it in Minecraft. We don't see the value in them. You know, it's the server list where there's like this 20 servers, one after the other, and you need to get your players to vote for them.
Yeah.
And they have these annoying, obnoxious, flashing banners. We tried that for a little while. It turns out you send more players to them than they send players to you. So we don't see the value in that. And the one we found that worked the best is just YouTubers pretty much every time. Or I guess streamers. We haven't really tried to do much with streamers. But these are the best one in our mind.
Do you think Wynncraft would ever be interested in reaching out to outside of Minecraft content creators? I know, for example, you know, Asmongold reacted to the new trailer.
Yeah.
Would that be a possibility?
That's fun. I can't believe you did that. Well, it could be nice, but here's the issue, right? Asmongold got what, 50,000 people watching his streams. If we were to say, hey, how about you play Minecraft for 1 hour, it would cost us an obnoxious amount of money for really little gain, because most of his viewers maybe don't have Minecraft, or they don't care about Minecraft, or they care about World of Warcraft, which seems to be more like the game that his viewers like to watch. So it just wouldn't make sense for us. Generally, I think Minecraft YouTubers is what makes the most sense.
Yeah. It was cool seeing him react to it.
I know, right? I couldn't fucking believe it. The team showed me, hey, Asmongold reacted to it with a screenshot. I thought this was edited. I thought they were like messing with me. I don't know if it was actually true. Crazy.
Did you know about the small sort of, not necessarily like a shout out, but the accidental sort of Wynncraft Easter egg, I guess you could say, in one of Linus Tech Tips videos?
Linus Tech, yeah. Yeah, I knew about it. It's so funny how those happen, man. We don't, I swear we didn't plan this. It was really surprising as well. I also thought this was like a made-up meme from our team when they said it, but here it was. And none of those really brought that many new players. It's just funny to see them. It's like seeing your game on TV, right? What is it doing there? Come out of nowhere.
What's your dream vision of Wynncraft?
Well, I wish Wynncraft would keep going for as long as it can. It's still doing pretty well right now. And, we'll see how it goes. It's gonna depend, I guess, on Minecraft, since we're tied to Minecraft. But my dream vision is that Wynncraft at least stays as popular as it is, or maybe grow.
Yeah. If Minecraft were to sort of end, would Wynncraft branch into its own thing, or would that be the end of it?
Wynncraft standalone, you mean?
Yeah.
Maybe. I would hate for Wynncraft to just die because of Minecraft. We'd fight a little bit. We'll see what happens. I don't think Minecraft's going anywhere. It's such a popular game. Jesus. But if it happens, we'll see.
Just typing out something here. But yeah, do you have an opinion on, or sort of what's your opinion on the events? Do you like them?
The Wynncraft events?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. I mean, we've been doing them, and I think the players also like them. They're they're somewhat like, I don't like to say that because people think it means no effort, but they're kind of easy to make in general. Like they don't require as much work as a full update for sure, and they get people online to do things, and they bring back some attention to Wynncraft, and people seems to enjoy it. It's super nice to go in Deadless right now, and it's like snowing. There's a bunch of stuff. There's this big ass Yeti with his like butt that you can see, just like blocking the door.
I knew it was made on purpose.
I didn't ask for it. Like Faye just made this Yeti, and I was like, damn. So why the butt? It was just like, oh well, it's kind of funny, and we kept it. But it's just nice. It's a change of pace. It makes the world feel alive, which I think is important for an MMO.
Yeah. But it's sort of included all these new sort of interactions with NPCs from other quests. Would you ever want to see similar sort of unique interactions outside of just events?
Maybe. Well, yeah, sure. I'm not against it at all. I don't know why we haven't done it. Probably because Script 2, which is what would allow us to do that easily, has been relatively new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we could have that. Didn't we add some of that in some recent quest?
Yeah. For example, after Aldri's Secret Part 2, you can go and talk to, now I forgot, Olan is his name.
Yeah.
In Ephelim afterwards and such.
Yeah. So we're starting to get to do that.
Yeah. Sort of checking the chat here. One of the questions here is, how do you feel about implementing memes like Bread Enthusiast into the game?
I wasn't even aware Bread Enthusiast existed until the beta. They just did that on their own. And then I saw that. As long as we don't overdo it, I think it's fine. We've always kind of implemented memes. Like we have the fucking Thurk stairs or whatever ends in like the stairs thing in the Emerald Trail. We have the trebuchet in the Carcass quest. Just random ass meme that are in there. As long as it's not overdone, it's fine.
About the Thurk stairs.
Yeah.
Will the big stairs ever be removed?
Yeah. Who said they hated it? Was it Zero?
What is it called? Interviewer client privileges?
Alright, that's fucking Zero. Or something like that. I don't think we would remove it. It's kind of memorable. Mm-hmm. And we planned to remove them, then the community was like, oh, let's keep them. So I think Lumia was just like, oh, all right, fuck it, I'll keep them. And now they're kind of just there, and they're memorable. And I think it's important to be memorable in the early game, especially.
And see. I'm just checking chat here to see if they had more questions. Do you have any opinions on the current Wynncraft community?
No, I love the community. I love you all. You hear me? All 108 watching right now. Every single one of you, I love you. And I think our community is really cool compared to other games or servers. It has its bad side, whatever. Like you can't avoid it. But in general, it's funny. I go on Discord. I check like the highlights on the home option. And I see all the weird ass shit you guys have been saying. It's funny. I like it.
Even the I'm assuming they mean even the gift spam in general channel win.
It's funny in its own way, even though sometimes it's a little overdone, but it's fine.
Is there anything you feel like I haven't asked about that you have thought I'd ask about or you wanted to talk about?
No, man, dude. I was supposed to be here for 2 hours. Here we are for 3 hours and 10 minutes. You asked a lot of stuff.
Yeah, a lot of these questions just pop into my head as we go.
Yeah.
But yeah, would you is there any chance we could see some exclusive leaks for the upcoming update?
Ruma. You know, for most of this interview, I was in a developer world, just right next to an upcoming feature we've been working on with Zero. You guys have no idea all along. For Fruma, you'll have to wait. We like to keep things. We like to do big reveals. It's what makes it fun. You have to wait.
I asked a question, so now I can make a clickbaity highlights title. So that's fine.
Go as clickbaity as you need to. I understand YouTubers.
Yeah. Gotta do what I gotta do.
They should put like a picture of your face going like, "Oh shit!" You
Oh
know.
my god! Did you hear
As
what
if-
he
as
had
if
to
I
say?
said- yeah, as if I said something unbelievable.
Ruma leaked. Did you hear about the Leaf region? What is this? Yeah. But yeah. Should we be excited for upcoming Ruma, but also in betweener updates?
Yeah, man. Goddamn, I can't wait for you guys to see Fruma. It's still a long way there. It's like the best shit we've done in a long time. It's been a long time since we made a region. We made like Road to Dern in 2019. It's been like 3 years. You guys don't know what's coming with Fruma. Assuming we do it right, maybe we're gonna mess it up. But I got high hopes.
Yeah.
And we do have some fun little other updates in the meantime that I think you guys will like because you've been asking for it. But we'll see then.
Sort of wrapping up here because these have been all the questions I have for you. And I know you're a very busy cow, so you have lots of things to do. But would you ever be interested in participating in something like this ever again?
Another interview? Maybe, but probably not right now. Like and like not only am I doing this 3 hours interview with you, but I've been with my visiting my family for the past week. I'm quite satisfied with socialization, just social things. I think I'll be good for a good like 6 months easily.
Okay, the social battery is sort of drained.
Yeah.
Yeah, I understand completely. But yeah, it's been an honor, and I'm really grateful that you made time in your busy schedule to join.
No worries, it's been great.
But yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And is there sort of anything you would like to sort of say?
Well, I love everyone here. You, the community, the CT that's watching secretly for me to see if I'm leaking anything, and probably Zero who's also listening. I love everyone. You guys are what makes me wake up in the morning and have a great fun working on Wynncraft. It's the best job I've ever had, by far.
But yeah,
Alright,
thank you.
I'm off. See ya, man. Thanks for having me.
Bye.